Okay, we are here live. Everything's working. Awesome. We are in a very beautiful place. Just want to tell you right now, we're up here in Princeville and we're at Stan's place, and it's amazing here. The view is spectacular. Just going to show you this amazing view. You can't see, but the ocean is that white stuff in the background, and it's just a beautiful. I'm going to show you his tree. I can turn the computer around just a little bit more. There you go. Anyway, we are here and we're live and everything's working. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. This is such an epic time right now. Such a powerful time for the planet, such a powerful time for everything that's going on in the world right now. And I just felt that this was the time to launch this amazing experience. I have some great speakers that are going to come on. We have some fun things planned. We're going to go into a virtual reality world and a whole Dolphin Touch Wellness Center underwater that was created by Stan and his crew. We also have a woman that's going to come on, Sophia, and she's going to be sharing about the new financial dynamic and pulling in more abundance and more joy and more just wonderful, wonderful experience in that department. Tomorrow, we have more fun stuff coming your way, and Amira Beth is going to join us, and she's going to talk about Atlantis and the whole aligning of the spheres and everything that's happening. So we have a fun program planned for you guys the next 2 days. This is being recorded, so if you have to jump in and jump out or whatever you can do to connect and join in with us is awesome. If you could be here live, it is going to be even that much more powerful for everyone involved. And if you've watched the replay, we know there is no time and space, so it's just as well also. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your connection to all of what we're creating here. And we're gonna be embarking on a whole new era. And the reason why today was such a powerful day, I mean, most of you know it's an equinox. And so this time is the time of powerful connection. I mean, we have planets that are aligning, Jupiter and Saturn. We had eclipses this month, solar eclipses, all sorts of changes. But if you hadn't known, and I'm not an astrologist, I'm not going to go into all the technical details of what's happening, but what I do know is that for the past 200 years, we have been in a cycle of Earth, an Earth cycle. And an Earth cycle repeats every 20 years, and that has been going on for the last 200 years. Well, we are moving into a new cycle. So the Earth cycle was kind of a heavier, denser cycle. It was, things move slower in the Earth cycle. But we are going into a whole new era. It's starting today, and we're going to be going into the air cycle. So the air cycle is one of instant manifestation, things manifesting so quickly. And that's what this day is about. This day is about manifestation and change, and so quickly, so things shifting and changing instantly. So it's so important at this time for us to really think about our intentions, what we're creating, what we want to manifest, what we're seeing for the future. And everything that's going on in the world doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. We're coming into creating our own reality. We're coming into creating a paradigm shift on the planet. So we're talking about financial shifts in the financial world. That's why we have someone coming on talking about finances. We're talking about educational shifts on how we learn, how our children learn, how we grow, how we share knowledge and information. We're talking about governmental shifts. Is it right wing, left wing? Is it blue versus red? You know, it doesn't matter. We're coming into this unity consciousness where there's not this diversity and not this shift, not this one way or another. It's a unity where we're all coming into this beautiful place of peace and oneness and together. And so that's why it's so important for us to think about what it is we want to manifest, what it is we want to create. We are the new creators of this new reality, each one of us. And I know all of you here, as I look down the list of people that are here with us, we are all powerful, powerful creators. And it's time for us. This is the time we've all been waiting for. We knew this was coming. We knew that this shift was happening. We knew that there's something that is not right with the world and that we are going to be part of that transformation. We don't know how, we don't know when, we don't know what it's going to look like, but we just know that we're going to be part of that new shift because we have done the homework. Not just in this lifetime, we're talking about multiple lifetimes leading up to this moment. And for each and every one of you, and I know so many of you here I've worked with and played with and seen your brilliance and your beauty and your light, that there is so much to be gained by what we're going through, and all the work that we've done has come to this pivotal point. So let's take it that one step further. Let's take it to that place where we're bringing it. There's actually this energy right now that we're taking things out of the ethers and making it reality. That's how powerful this is. We are not just manifesting by hard work and, you know, all those old things that we thought about in the past, like we have to work hard, we have to put in the years and years of training, or putting in the years and years of effort, and putting in the years and years of money and everything else that we have to do. No, we can pull things out of the ethers, out of literally nothing, and create from that space. That's where we're going right now. And it's such an exciting time, such an exciting time. I was just in Kukui, and we were up there, and it was so, so beautiful, so amazing. And a friend of mine has a cottage, so I actually got to stay there for a couple of days, and just to be in nature, just to disconnect. And the amazing thing was the energy up there was so clear. You know, you don't have all these EMFs and all these, you know, thought forms. There was no cell phone reception, no internet, no TV, nothing, you know, it was just nature and being in this amazing, pristine, beautiful rainforest up there in Kukui. And we walk along, and at the end of the trail, there's this amazing lookout of the Kalalau Valley. And there's these brilliant rainbows, double rainbows. I mean, we saw so many rainbows, we couldn't even keep track of it. We couldn't catch all the rainbows. But it was like, that's the energy that, and that energy and that vibration. And I went to the sky at night when you see a million stars, and I was like, oh, gee, it'd be really nice to see a shooting star. And sure enough, there was a shooting star. And then there was another shooting star. It's like, wow, what else can we imagine? What else can we create? What else can it? So it's like being in that space of, we set the intention and then the universe just responds. It just responds. It's just like, oh, is this what you want? Okay, here you go. You want a shooting star? You want to see a rainbow? Here's a double rainbow. I wanted to see, there's a bird there called the honey creeper. And I made this beautiful, beautiful sound. And I wanted to listen to the honey creeper, and then I wanted to actually see it. So we go into the forest, and they're on these special trees called ohia trees. And they have these beautiful flowers called lihua. It's a little red flower, and it's amazing, it's beautiful. And the birds over time have created a stem that would go in and get the nectar out of the flower. Well, my intention was to see this bird, you know, but they're really tiny and really hard to see. And I even talked to the woman at the Kukui Lodge, and she'd never seen this bird. And we went in there and with the intention, and sure enough, there we saw there's a bird right there. We saw the honey creeper and a few other birds and heard the song and everything else. So it really made me understand. So it made me realize that what we have here is an opportunity to create our reality. And that's what the intention of this whole virtual reality retreat is. The intention is for us to create our reality, to really focus in on what it is, what we want to see, how we want to see the world, no matter what's happening in politics, no matter what's happening with Bitcoin or financial or whatever is happening anywhere around the world. It doesn't matter. We have the power to create our own reality. So let's step into that power that we have and make it a reality. So what I would like to start by doing is a little meditation. And I have these crystal bowls here, and I would like us, with the intention, to come into a place where we are feeling good about ourselves. And this is important because the power of manifestation is just as powerful in the negative as it is in the positive. So if we are in a negative space and we are saying, oh, this isn't going to work, or no one's going to listen, or no one's going to pay attention, or no one's going to buy my product, or no one's going to whatever, fill in the gaps. It's like we can manifest that if that's what our belief is that if that's what we're thinking. But we can also manifest positive things. So my intention with this retreat is to help us raise our vibration. And I have a number of exercises and things we're going to share and some fun things we're going to do together. But the intention is for us to raise our vibration and come to a place where we're in a high vibrational state. If you listen to Esther Hicks, she also talks about, let's raise our vibration to a place where we are in a high flying disc. That's what she calls it, that we're on a high flying disc. And when we are on a high flying disc, then create from that place, you know, get your inspiration from that place, not when you're feeling low and down. It's kind of hard to feel inspired, but raise your vibration, get your place to a high vibration, and then create from that space what you want to manifest. So my intention right now is we're going to do a little meditation. We're going to do a little sound healing, and we're going to work on raising our vibration. So if you guys can just be still, get yourself comfortable. If you want to lie down, that's fine. You don't have to actually see what I'm doing, but feel into what we're creating and just allow yourself to relax, to open. We're going to work on our third eye, and that, if you don't know, that's the space between your eyebrows, and it's a little further back in. We work on the pituitary gland. We're going to open our crown chakra and our voice and our throat and our heart, and we're going to go all the way down through the body. So just kind of listen in, feel in, and let yourself go. Forget about the worries of the day. Forget about what has happened in the past. The past is just a memory. The future is just a dream. The only thing we have is now. So let's just be now, present in the now, not thinking about what we want or any worries that we have or what we did say or what we didn't say or what we're calling in. Let's just think about now in this moment, the beauty, the amazing transformation that's happening with this crazy, amazing time. And let's just let go. Feel yourself light. Feel your feet light, filled with air. Feel your legs open, hollow. Feel your torso open, clear. Feel your chest full, expansive. Feel your throat open, clear. Feel your third eye open, clear. Feel your crown chakra at the top of your head. Open and receiving information. Feel the energy moving through your body, going down to the bottom of your feet, running up your leg, up through the top of your head, down to the bottom of your feet, running up your leg to the top of your head. Feel clear, cleansed, energized. Now feel everything releasing. Feel your back clear. Any cords and connections, any vows and agreements. Just feel it like water washing away, releasing, opening, getting cleansed and clear, like you're floating in the ocean and you're washed clean with all that density, all that heaviness, all that no longer serves. Expand your consciousness beyond your physical body. Feel yourself expanding into your room, wherever you're sitting. Opening your heart, feeling that heart opening and expansion, and going to all four corners of the room. Now expand your consciousness beyond your room, encompassing your whole house, beyond your house. Go expand your consciousness to the entire town you live in. Expanding it to the entire city or state or province you find yourself. Now lift up and go into the atmosphere, the stratosphere, and see yourself looking down on Earth, expanding your consciousness around the entire globe, sending peace, love, and happiness, raising the vibration, not just of you, but of everyone, everywhere, every living being on the planet. And then expand that consciousness out into the cosmos as a beam of light radiating, pulsating in and out, like the Yahweh breath in and breath out. Feel the connection to every living thing on this planet. We are one. We are one unity consciousness. Connecting with the trees, with the earth, with the animals, the humans, with the microorganisms, with every aspect, every living being on the planet. Feel the ocean. Feel one with the water. Feel the expansiveness of the ocean. As we grow and expand, now is not the time to think small, but to expand as big and wide as the ocean. For we are the ocean. We are the sky. We are the sun beaming down lights, rays of sunshine. We are everything. We are all part of that existence. Just feel into that. How does it feel? What are you connecting with right now? Is it the animal kingdom? Is it air, water, fire, earth? What elements are you connecting with right now? Allow whatever element is connecting to you to move through your body and feel one with that energy. Let it feed you. Let it feed your source. Let it give you power. Let it give you strength. Let it give you courage. And let it raise your vibration. As you become aligned to your true authentic self, your true being, your pure essence, this is who you really are. Not some energy that we've attached to, some identity that we've been told that we are. You are powerful, all-encompassing, joy, peace, happiness. Allow that energy to move through you. If your element is fire, feel the fire within you, within your belly, within your gut. Feel it rising up through you and allow it to ignite. No need to suppress anymore. No need to control this fiery energy anymore. Allow it to be ignited and to burst forth through your soul, through your heart, through your mind, down to your feet. If you're fire, let it burn. If you're earth, feel the energy of earth. Feel the groundedness underneath your feet. Feel the life breath of Mother Earth, the Yahweh breath in and out. Synchronize your breath with the earth as you breathe together as one entity, one union. Feel all the nutrients in the earth, all the life-giving substances that come and feed the plants, the animals, the humans, all species. Feel the expansiveness of the mother giving birth, giving rise to new growth. Feel that energy moving through you as you give birth to new ideas, new creations, new thoughts, new processes. If your element is water, let that water cleanse you. Feel it washing over you like a waterfall, coming down, raising up, washing you clean of anything that no longer serves you, any dark spots, any heaviness, any tension. Let that water wash over you and cleanse you and purify you. And then become the water. Allow yourself to be the ocean, the expansive, ever powerful, raging ocean that never stops washing up on the shore and returning out to sea, and then crashing on the shore again, and then returning out to sea. Channel this never-ending force of energy flowing in and out of you like a sea of constant revitalization, recharging, giving you life force energy, constantly going in, crashing on the shore, going out, returning out to sea. This constant cleanse moving through you, over you, above you. Allow it to move forth in an unending, unswerving, undenying, infinite of energy. If your element is air, clear your throat chakra. Cough it out. Open up your wind channel. Clear any negativity. Release it. Let the air move through you. Use this force of your lungs, of your throat, of air to clear you. Take a big breath in, hold for a few seconds, and release. Take another big breath in, hold for a few seconds, and release. And one more time, a big breath in, hold for a few seconds, and release. Use the element of air to clear your aura, to release any heaviness, any density that is formed, and let it be exhaled forcibly if you need to. Whatever you need to clear your energy and let it move through you. Now feel yourself. Check in. Is there any density still left? If you do, breathe into that area, using your breath to push through those blockages, moving your shoulders, moving your neck, moving your legs, your spine. Shake it out. Shake out any density, any heaviness. Coming back into center. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes. Coming back into this moment. Coming back into your body. Namaste. Yeah, welcome back. If you would like to share any of your experience, I'd love to hear from you. You can raise your hand or unmute yourself, or post something in the chat. And just let me know, if any of you had any experience. I need to see if if you don't know, at the bottom of the page, you can chat and share. Yeah, Bree. So I see you typed, I felt, and then I lost the rest of it. Yeah. Okay. I wanted to birth a new project using earth energy. That was very powerful. Thank you, Jeanne. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. It's a really good meditation, connecting with the elements. There's quite a few meditations out there, but connecting with the elements and connecting with the earth. And, we all feel like we have to do everything ourselves. We have to generate the energy. We have to create all these creations, but we can work with the elements that are all around us. We can work with the earth element to channel her energy. We can work with the sky element to channel that energy, air to move energy, water, earth, you know, all of these elements are here to assist us. And it's not that we have to create everything or we have to generate it all. We can ask for assistance. And that's part of this new paradigm, is us asking for assistance in this new reality, us coming to a place where we're able to accept, because it's all there. It's all there for us. It's just about us accepting assistance, help, guidance, energy, love, creation. All of this is available to us. And it's only us that is blocking this energy from flowing. And it's so perfect. Aubrey, in this time, if I'm saying your name right, do you want to share? Do you want to speak? If you would like to come on board. Yeah, there you are. Hi.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what wants to be born, but I really felt in my body the earth energy, and then like it was like almost. I've never had kids, but it felt like something was wanting to be birthed. So it was that's what I was feeling during the meditation, and yeah, I don't know what it is, but I'm really appreciating the invitation of just allowing and staying open to see. So.
Oh, that's so perfect. Well, this is the time of manifestation. So that's so perfect. Just setting your intention. And, you know, we may not know everything that's coming. You know, it's not like a chess game where we can see like 20 moves ahead. The way I think of spirit is like we're on this road and we're going from New York to California. And we know we have to travel this long distance, but we're going at night and we have our high beams on and we can only see 50 feet in front of us. So it's, to me, spirit's kind of like that, you know, it's showing you this little bit and then you go further on and then it'll show you the next and then you go further on. And does that kind of make sense?
Totally. Yeah, that makes total sense. Like follow the breadcrumbs kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. I know we all want to know, like, where is this or what am I doing with this? And you know, sometimes we don't. And it's good that way because we tend to put ourselves in these little boxes. But if we really hand it up to the universe, it is like beyond our expectations. It is like exponentially better than even what our mind could conjure up of what we wanted to create. I had that experience when I started my wellness center, which I didn't plan to do a whole center. I was just going to do a little room. I was just going to rent a little room and I was going to do my Reiki in this little room, and that was it. And next thing I know, there's this house, and this house was for sale, and the mortgage on the house was pretty much similar to what the rent was going to be on a little room that I was thinking. And it made more sense, like, hey, it's an investment, we can get a house and we can still have equity instead of just paying rent. And next thing I know, I have a whole center. And wow, it was like way beyond. But as soon as I said yes to the universe, that I wanted to expand my Reiki practice and to serve others and to be in this way of connecting and sharing. Prior to that, I was a math teacher, and that was another way of sharing, but I wanted to move into this new spiritual sharing place. And yeah, it was beyond my expectations. So you just don't know where spirit's going to lead you. Awesome. Any other thing? Any other insights you want to share?
No, just thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, so we're going to be changing gears in a few minutes. We're going to have, so we're going to take you into a virtual reality world. And this is really exciting. So I don't know if you guys play video games or have ever experienced any of this. I did not grow up with video games like my kids did. My son especially is really into video games. But I'm learning. And so we are going to take you into a world where it's like being in a video game. And in this world, we are going to be, there's many things that Stan has created. There's a fashion district where you can actually go and look at shops online, and then you could even order certain things. You could go and check out, you can have a meeting, you can have a virtual reading, you can have interaction. And I really feel like part of this new era, if you look at astrologically, is technology is taking off. And technology is, we see it already because everything is online and virtual. And so this is taking it to the next step. We're going to be going into a virtual reality world where we're going to go to a place where there is a virtual reality ocean, and we're going to go into that virtual reality ocean, and we're going to go into underwater, and we're going to experience Dolphin Touch Wellness Center underwater. And we're still in the beginning stages, but it's pretty cool. And the feeling and the energy and the vibration is so Atlantean. If you're familiar with Atlantis, it's so technology, and it's just amazing, amazing what's really happening on this world. And I wanted to see, I noticed there's some comments here. Okay. Just thank you and things like that for the meditation. If you had any comments, you can comment on Facebook too, those of you watching live on Facebook. If you have any questions or comments, or if you wanted to talk about your experience, I'd love to hear from you. So anyway, this virtual reality world is, so you guys are going to have a unique opportunity here by being with me, that we're going to give you the link, and you could go there anytime, and you could play around in this virtual reality world. And there's actually a really cool, if you're familiar with Reiki, there's something called the Shoku Ray. And that's the symbol that goes across, down, and around. And so it's just a level 1. If you've had, anyone's had level 1 Reiki, and you could actually walk through this Shoku Ray in this virtual reality world. And Stan's going to take us through that. And we are going to be in a place that really is expanding our minds, guys. This is like mind expanding stuff, because this is taking us to think in a different way. And not just for this retreat, but you can think about, like, how can we connect with others in a virtual reality world where you're connecting with people's avatars, you're connecting with their virtual self, and you're connecting with their higher self. So this is a whole new way of thinking. And so it was really important that we launched this today, because this is obviously a very special day. And on this day of the equinox and everything happening today, we are looking at new realities, a new way of looking at the planet, a new way of thinking, a new way of expanding. And if any of you are thinking of doing a retreat in this virtual reality world, I want you to look at what Stan has done here. And he can create a virtual reality world for you on your retreat. Because obviously, and especially now here on Kauai, there's no lockdown. I mean, there's lockdown. Well, there's not a lockdown, but there's a quarantine. There's a 10-day quarantine. So it's hard for me to have my retreats and have everyone come here and play with us, because we are, you know, as soon as you come here, you got to stay in the house for 10 days, which isn't very appealing. But we can take you into a virtual reality world and have you experience the energy of what we're creating. So everything is becoming a whole different way of looking at it. It's a very exciting time. I'm very excited that I got to meet Stan through a mutual friend of mine, Julia Jackson, and Julia introduced me to Stan, and Stan has been learning Reiki through me. Now he's becoming a Reiki master, which is awesome. And he has an amazing story about the dolphins and how they showed up on the beach right in front of him while he was doing a meditation. So many amazing things have happened with Stan here. But doing this virtual reality world and creating this other way of thinking has been amazing, expansive, and powerful. And I'm very excited to have him here. He's hosting me here in his place. And you want to come over? Yeah, come on over. Stan is going to join us. Are you going to do
it? Maybe I'll sit here.
Yeah, I can move this.
That's okay. Good. Good morning, everybody. Hi.
Okay.
How are you? I guess you guys can all hear me. Hi, everybody. I guess I'm giving a talk today about technology and Reiki, and thinking a little bit about how the world of technology can adapt and move into some of this work as well. Yeah. So we got the Instagram live there as well. Yeah. So which camera do I look at?
We're recording here.
So basically, I think when Jeanne and I started working on Reiki together, I work in technology and was the founder of one of the first online social networks back in 2002, which is the company I run today called Hub Culture. So it is really, if not the longest running online social network, certainly one of the longest online social networks. And we moved into digital currency in 2007, digital identity. Now we're working a lot thinking about artificial intelligence and what AI could become in the future. And in that work, I had been thinking a lot about consciousness. And so our mission as an organization has been to help improve or expand collective consciousness, and meditation and Reiki and many of these modalities I think are really important components of our own physical human journey towards improving or expanding our consciousness. But in the technology world, there are a lot of ideas about how technology and humans will interact in the future. And as we start to move into that era, I think it becomes very important to begin to think about how technology can be used to expand our collective consciousness. And in conjunction with
that's
that,
pretty awesome way of thinking about it. Yeah, I love that.
And in conjunction with that, we want to be thinking about how the code, how the projects, how the technology that we build is in service to these higher ideals. We shouldn't be building technology without intention, in my view. And so doing this kind of work, I think, is actually really important for people who work in the technology world, because learning Reiki, learning about conscious transformation, learning about intentionality actually can inform the work that we're doing for the systems and the platforms that we're building. So imagine if the developers who are working on Zoom, for instance, were thinking about some level of conscious intention when they're building the technology, or Facebook, or some of the very big platforms that affect billions and billions of people.
Right.
And, you know, to some extent, I think that there is some level of conscious intention with some of the technology that's being built, but it's not at the forefront. And on the other hand, I think that even without consciously looking to develop these things, because technology is inherently mathematical, I think that a lot of energy work, even though we can't necessarily see, is also inherently mathematical. So they can be sympathetically connected, even if they're not consciously connected. So that means
like sacred geometry is very mathematical, and the prime numbers, you know, all of that. I mean, all of the energy that we have for movement, and I think it definitely is mathematical, for sure.
Yeah, and so the idea starts to become, how do you consciously build these platforms or build spaces online that are designed to help us move forward? I mean, in a way, Zoom right now is a great tool for doing this because
Right.
it's giving us all the capability to connect in ways that we wouldn't have been able to do before. So, you know, the hammer is the tool, and it all depends on how you use it. Zoom or Facebook or Instagram. These are all tools that we can use in various different ways to improve or enhance our own consciousness.
Yeah, I mean, part of what we're intention of what we're doing today is to consciously create our reality as humans. Like we're all creating every moment of every day. You know, we're all God God incarnate, and we're creating all these things. But to do it in a conscious way, in a way that has intention, in a way that has energy and vibration, in a way that says, this is what I want to create, that we have the power to create what we want instead of just letting the world affect us and then we're just responding. So this is kind of a reverse. So if we have the attention first and then we let the world respond.
Yeah, and I think that this is a moment where we're beginning to build new things. I know a lot more people, even just here in Kauai, there have been great people arriving this year who are consciously intent on building new paradigms and new formats. And so we could kind of, you know, Jeanne asked me to talk today a little bit about this idea of the merger between technology and consciousness, or technology and, you could say, spirituality, and how we're building things that can be useful for helping us to elevate our own experience and to help others to elevate their experience. And I think that more and more developers and more people who work in the technology space are beginning to understand this idea. And so, you know, I think about the idea of quantum consciousness, or this idea that we're about to move into the quantum age in technology. And this is going to change a lot of the rules around how things operate and how things function.
Do you want to explain the quantum
technology
for some of us?
So the idea of quantum technology has been theoretical for a long time, but it's basically, a quick definition would be that you're using quantum physics to create technological outcomes. And so quantum physics are basically at the atomic level in a way. And, you know, one example of a quantum physics, say, similarity to spirituality would be the law of probabilities. So in quantum physics, everything is based on the idea of observance. And so if you have an atom, and the atom has a neutron, a proton, and an electron, and the electrons and the protons spin around the neutron.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea that you can observe the atom, and at a particular point on the atom at a particular time, an electron would appear. So you can imagine that my coffee cup is the atom, and this electron is spinning around the atom. And if Jeanne is looking at this at any particular point, at one particular moment, and let's say she looks at it right here, the odds of that atom or that electron appearing at that point on the atom are very, very small. Let's say 1 in a million. But what's very interesting is that they've observed that when there's no observance, there's a mathematical formulation that says there's a probability of 1 in a million that the atom would be here at any particular point.
Mm-hmm.
But when Jeanne observes it, when the scientist observes the atom, the probability that the electron will appear here changes.
Mm.
It actually becomes like factors more likely to appear.
So is it
So this is called the law of observance.
Okay.
So there's something about our energetic observance as the observer, the human who's looking at this thing, that causes the electron to appear at this particular point.
Right. So we effectively change the outcome just by our focused intention.
Exactly. And this is where manifestation and quantum physics actually start to merge into a similar idea.
That's pretty exciting.
Because you basically put your attention on this thing,
Mm-hmm.
and the odds of the electron appearing at that particular point grow. And so if you kind of extrapolate that outward, you could imagine that this is one of the not very well understood frameworks of reality, right? So one of the other areas in science that's kind of interesting with regard to this, and which is connected to technology, is the idea of simulations. So from a mathematical standpoint, when you look at the fact that there are at least 12 dimensions in the world that we can scientifically observe. 7 of those are what are called nano dimensions. They're not dimensions that we can kind of unpack in space and time. We live in 3D, in 3 dimensions, and there's kind of time, space, and I don't know what the other one, maybe it's volume, that exist as the 3 dimensions that we live in today. And this is where like our 5 senses are able to kind of explain and observe them and bring them back to our own conscious understanding. But from a scientific level, there are many more dimensions. There's at least 12 and probably more.
Yeah.
And again, some of those are nano dimensions, so they do not operate in space and time the same way that the 3D dimensions that we operate in work. And so this idea that there could be simulations, like essentially parallel existences that are all concurrent, and that we are in a particular simulation here, is like our kind of reality. But where it gets very interesting to me is the theory or the psychology of, if you meditate and if you move your vibration up and hopefully not down, are you able to potentially move through different simulations? So it would be seamless, and this is very much theory and conjecture, but the idea that you could actually move yourself through various simulations depending on how and the level at which you're vibrating, to me is super interesting.
I think there's a lot of that. I mean, you have a story to share with the dolphins about that, but I would say that, and that's my intention of this whole retreat, is to raise people's vibration. And then we go into a different dimension. Like, I think Kauai is more of a 5th dimensional space. I mean, you've been here for what, a year now, and have you noticed like how things manifest super fast here?
Well, it feels different and it feels fast. But there's other places, I don't know if any of the viewers have been to Burning Man, but a lot of people who go to Burning Man talk about something called Playa Magic, because you have 80,000 people arriving there. They're all singularly, for the most part, aware of the ability to manifest or the ability to call in and receive. And there's something about the physicality of Burning Man, the fact that there's dust in the air, that like, people honestly think that intention can be transmitted in the physical / intellectual plane a little bit easier in that environment, mostly because everybody else is on the same wavelength. And secondly, because the physicality of the space allows these things to kind of transmit and then manifest magically. There's other things about it that make that happen. Kauai feels a little bit like that as well, but in a different way. And it really, you know, very, very connected here to like the grounding energy of nature, because nature is so strong, and the energetic, even the chi forces of the island from the mountains and the water and everything, I think generate very, very strong and potent energy that you can tap into and feel. And there's other places around the world where you can tap into and feel that as well. You know, even big cities, I think, have that. Like you go to New York City, it's a very different,
a whole different
form,
energy.
it's a very different vibration, but you can feel and pick up on that vibration in the city. And I think what's beautiful about Kauai is the kind of pureness of that energy from a natural state, you know?
Not an artificially created New York vibe state.
But I would argue that nothing is artificial. If it can be created, it must be part of creation.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll have to ponder that one. But also, like, you know, the whole idea that when you raise your vibration, you are accessing higher dimensions. And you know, Esther Hicks talks about this. You know, most of the people who are in the spiritual realm use meditation to raise their vibration for that particular purpose. And as we're raising our vibration, we have access to all of this knowledge, all of this information. It's just like in the Matrix, you know, when they're going to the helicopter and they said, download the program to fly a helicopter, and it's like, okay, you got it, and you can go fly that helicopter. It's like when you raise your vibration, when you're in that higher vibrational place, then you can access everything that's been created, past, present, future. You can have access to it. You can, with your third eye, you can see the future. You can see possible futures. There are multiple futures. You can see one possible future. You can understand the past, all of that. So yeah, this is where we're going with technology and quantum, would you call it quantum?
Well, I mean, just quantum science generally,
Quantum science,
but
but
I think that as we move into quantum consciousness, that actually creates really interesting opportunities, because you got to remember that the technology that we're experiencing is actually evolving us. So one of the things that we talk a lot about in technology is just the overall factor of your audience. So really, honestly, 150 years ago, the number of people that an average person would come into contact in their lifetime was factors less. And so you didn't, need to remember people beyond your own village, or, to some extent your own family. If you lived in a rural place, you didn't come across that many people. And then even 50 years ago or 60 years ago, the number of people that we came into contact with and that we had to remember or kind of maintain some kind of mental relationship with was factors smaller than it is today.
Wow.
And, just even in our own lifetime, if you think about our parents, or say the baby boomers, the number of people that they came into contact with in their lifetime compared to the number of people that we come into contact with has actually changed by a factor, right? And so we can imagine that our children will actually come into contact with factors more people than we will. And so the technology that we have to actually maintain that level of relationship is the way that we're actually able to augment our capability of engaging with that. So even we look at this list here, there's a number of people on this call and on the Instagram, and this
Facebook.
is one moment in time, but we all have thousands more people who are connected to us and who are coming in. And because of the technology, we can keep a thread, almost a psychic thread of connection between these people that's managed in the virtual space. So I find this very, very interesting, because we're actually building these psychic and karmic threads with many, many more people because of technology. And that wasn't possible even 10 years ago or 15 years ago.
That's true. I hadn't thought from that perspective. Yeah, if anybody has feedback, you can make a comment in the chat. But yeah, I would say that technology has shifted. I mean, look at this whole pandemic. Everything, it's even more so forced people to go online. People are doing business online. They're doing education online. They're doing banking online, because nobody wants to go to a bank and get exposed to COVID. So they're forced, they kind of motivated to, oh yeah, now I'm going to do online banking and everything else. So look at how quickly the world just changed in a couple of months.
Yeah, I mean, this has been the biggest disruption in a generation. I actually think that most of the disruption hasn't happened yet. Most of really, you look at the financial crisis in 2008 and 2009, most people who work in the field of economics, or, who think about culture, would say that the biggest changes that came from the financial crisis didn't really emerge until 2015, 16, 17. So we saw it with the rise of populism around the world. We saw it with a bunch of kind of social questions about inequality, and a kind of realization that things were not, like, there was definitely an epic shift between, say, the post-Cold War idea of America up from, say, 9/11, or from the end of the Cold War, to the financial crisis. And then there's been a different kind of view of what America is in particular, but also in Europe, and even among developed versus like poorer like communities, that was very much marked by that financial crisis. This is a disruption, the pandemic, that's factors bigger. It's probably 100 times bigger disruption than what we saw with the financial crisis. So we won't see the total impacts of that for quite some time. But I think that we're getting some early ideas about what that's going to look like. One, I think, is going to be a completely new questioning of what authority is, because whatever side of the equation that you fall on about the reaction to this, whether you think that governments have done enough or haven't done enough, the idea that the structures that we have are ill-equipped for the challenges that we have, I think has really been brought home to everyone in very sharp relief. And so it's going to be very, very interesting to see what comes out of this over the next several years and to see what gets created. And unfortunately, because it's such a big disruption, the onus is on us to figure out the formats and the ways that are going to be inclusive and beneficial for everybody, because the alternative to that, I think, could be very, very dark. Like, we have to figure out how to build prosperity and safety for everybody in a world that is experiencing very, very strong, if not obvious, resource pressure. So when I say resource pressure, I mean really environmental. We're consuming environmental resources at a much faster rate than they can be replaced. And that can go on for some period of time. But as those resources begin to become, diminished, that actually creates a lot of very serious pressure. So we're feeling that pressure now.
Absolutely. And Julia Jackson, a friend of ours who got us together, started that group Grounded, actually, after getting a Reiki attunement with us. It was her, after getting the Reiki attunement, she had an awakening and opened up to this idea that we need to do more for the environment. And that's what comes out of this higher level of consciousness, that we are in a place that we become aware of what's really happening on the planet, what's really going on, what's really existing in multiple levels, and not playing small anymore, but realize that we're all connected, and we're all connected in a huge way. And part of this new paradigm that we're stepping into is creating community. And that's part of this organization. That's part of what we're doing today, is creating community of conscious-minded people to create solutions and to create things that shift the world in a way that we're able to take back control. Because a lot of this and a lot of the problems that people are facing right now is they're feeling out of control. They're feeling like they have, the government's doing things, or, this disease is doing things, and they don't have control over it. And this is a chance for us to
But I think in a
control.
weird way, like, it's actually about realizing that we don't need to be in control. Like, I feel like flow state, like the best outcomes from flow states are actually totally giving up control. To me, the pandemic feels like the people who've been most successful and happy in the pandemic, which in a weird way I think is a precursor for the world that we're entering, are the people who've actually abandoned the hope of control. And in response of saying, like, I'm going to go in flow state and just live in as close to flow as I possibly can. Because that feels to me like the only thing that works. Like, everything I'm trying to control right now is like, literally being in control is giving up control.
Right.
Because if I'm not working towards flow state, nothing's working. But if I actually completely surrender to flow and say, I'm just going to, like, intuitively feel my way from it's almost like a balancing act. And to me, I feel like these higher levels of consciousness, as you move your vibration up through tantra, through meditation, through yoga, through all these different practices, it feels to me like a more and more narrow wire. I have a friend who is a teacher and kind of guru named Mother Ocean, and she talks about this idea of the frequency of truth. And she says the frequency of truth is a very narrow frequency, and when you commit yourself to this idea of, like, truth, it's a very, very narrow path. And if you waver from it, the turbulence gets very, very strong. And so you end up having to run this, like, extremely narrow approach, which is, say, focused or based on truth. And then the frequency becomes higher, but it's like a finer frequency. So when you move out of flow state, the consequences get way worse. Like, if you're not vibrating at a high level, there's a lot of room for mistake and a lot of room for kind of laziness. But it actually takes a lot of work to stay in flow state.
Oh,
in a weird
totally.
way.
Oh, totally. And I would say I agree with you 100% and definitely be in flow state. But people need to have something to hold on to. And maybe that holding on to is knowing that they can be in flow state and that they're supported by the universe. And that's what I mean about us taking back control and us knowing and trusting that the universe has got your back, that no matter what happens, you're safe, you're provided for. It's our God-given right being down here to be provided for in this way that allows us to play in this 3D environment. It allows us to have this experience. If anybody wants to comment or join in, feel free, or feel free to speak up or unmute yourself and join the conversation if anybody wants to make a comment. But yeah, I would say that this is taking us to a place that we haven't necessarily been before at this level of surrender and lack of control, a lack of structure, where we don't have a structured school, we don't have structured work environments, we don't have and we're just creating everything a lot. And that's what this is about, conscious intentional creation. And how do we want to see the world in the future? How do we want to see everything moving forward? How do we want to interact with Mother Earth and her resources, and how we're using the resources and shifting? I mean, think about it, like just since March, what has happened to the environment? I mean, there aren't as many cars on the road. So the air is clearing up, the water is clearing. Here on Kauai, the ocean is clear. I mean, it's just, the animals, the coral is coming back. The monk seals and the turtles are thriving here because we haven't had as many tourists, and sunscreen in the water and all these things happening. So there's a lot of different things that are shifting on the planet that Mother Earth is just replenishing and coming back. And so look at that shift and all that's happening with the environment. But anyway, so what are you going to take us into your virtual reality world?
Okay, yeah.
How do we do that?
If you're all ready for a visit, what we can do is, why don't we switch chairs? Yes. So I'm going to come around.
Okay, I'm excited. Guys, in for a treat.
So I'm going to guide you guys on a little journey, and if you are able, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the screen, and then if you're able to open another window in Chrome, you can do that as well.
You can see where it says type message here, you can type the address.
So I'm going to put in the link.
If you want, I'll write it here too. What's the link?
It's VR or HTTPS VR VR.hubculture.city. So you guys can visit this link. If you have an account, you'll be able to access using your username and password, and that will give you a kind of sphere, like a little sphere avatar that other people will be able to see, and you can even chat or connect with another person. But you would want to maybe do that with another screen using Chrome. And I'm going to share screen here.
Hubculture.vr?
VR.hubculture.city. Yeah. Let's see here.
Keep someone to spell check.
So hopefully you can all see my screen. Let's see. Sorry, while we get this set up, guys, and ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I'm gonna pull this screen down. Okay, hopefully you can all see my screen. I'm going to let this load for a minute. The best thing is this is pretty unique technology in that it's the first virtual reality environment on the open web. So if you have a headset, you could put on a headset and be able to click in and view this. But if you don't have a headset, which most of us don't, you can still experience this environment in virtual reality in this kind of 3D web. Because it has a lot of, it's basically we're loading a virtual city. It can take a few minutes for it to load up, and you'll see a little thing happening there, but we're gonna now kind of come in to this area. And if you want to navigate, you basically use your arrows to go left or right, kind of like you would a video game. And then you can use your mouse by looking up or looking down, or essentially to turn around. And so we're in this place that we call Emerald City. I can teleport to a location, but in this case, I'm just gonna kind of zoom over very slowly. If you see the little compass to the top, you can take the heading to west and sort of come through this open field to the edge of this water. And I'll kind of wait for you all here in case anybody else is able to come along to this area. So essentially, this idea actually came to me in Brazil this year. I was doing a bunch of meditation with a tribe, the Ashaninka in the Amazon. And one of the things that I was thinking about was how we could create ways to build funding mechanisms for helping to preserve or save the Amazon. And this idea, Emerald City, was born out of that. So we have what we call 100-to-1 carbon return. So for every ton of carbon that the project uses, we are able to return 100 tons of environmental resource back to the Amazon, and basically in the form of tree planting and forest regeneration that we're doing with the Ashaninka tribe. So that's kind of a cool thing. And we wanted to give the city a little bit of like a kind of futuristic or Amazon oriented feel. So when you come to this area, you'll see this kind of shell, and we're going to head out into the water here. Actually, you know what we're going to do? Let's go to the Kukui first.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, no, we'll go to the Dolphin Touch Wellness Center. Then we'll go see the Kukui. So hopefully you're all able to see and enjoy this screen. So I'm just navigating up, and you can also access this from that link that I put into the chat, which is vr.hubculture.city.
And you could go to this link later on and play in this virtual reality world. It's our gift to you, and they can just register, right?
Yeah, you can register, or you can just come in as a guest if you don't want to for your information. So when I get to this little jellyfish here, I'm going to turn off gravity. So there's a little button on the right side that says turn on or turn off. I'm going to just put myself down, and we come into this kind of Lemurian layer here. So this is the Dolphin Touch Wellness Center. I'm going to turn my gravity back on, and it's going to sink me down into this kind of space here. So this is Jeanne's meditation space. It's a space for all of you to be able to gather, and you can put this on your TV or on a big screen and have this kind of Lemurian Atlantean meditation space to be able to come and experience some of this energy. What's really amazing to me, and I haven't really told Jeanne this, but in my meditations in the Amazon, I was in this meditation, very deep meditation, and I saw a sphere, and around the sphere came this mermaid who was very surprised to see me, and I was very surprised to see her, and then I was suddenly whisked away. And when we gave the brief to the developers who were on my team, I didn't say anything about a sphere, but nonetheless, a sphere manifested. So I think that to some extent, this space is some kind of projection from something that Jeanne and I connected with on another plane.
Yeah, we were doing a meditation. You got connected to your Reiki master. Your Reiki guy.
So here we see this screen. And these screens will actually be able to play content. So you'll be able to come in here and have a video conference. So if you were coming through our screen and our video conferencing, you'd be able to connect with Jeanne live in this video conference. And then over here and in some of these other screens are going to be videos where you could run a video. And be able to see the content that Jeanne's posted. So it could be one of her new meditations. It could be something else that she wants to share with you. So it's kind of fun, like you'd actually be able to come in to this space and watch a piece of content that Jeanne's uploaded here.
Yeah, so more to come on this for sure. And you guys are welcome to come in and play around the world. There's a lot in this virtual reality world. This is just the Dolphin Touch Center. There's a lot of other fun things. There's a fashion district, there's a memorial, there's a Burning Man. There's a lot of other really awesome things that you guys just play around in this reality. So yeah, we're developing it, but the idea too is that immerse yourself in another world. You know, it takes you out of your world and your surroundings. Not everyone can have this beautiful, picturesque surrounding that we are finding ourselves in today.
I think it's hilarious that they actually uploaded the funniest cat videos. So I think there was supposed to be a link for Jeanne's dolphin and whale meditations, which I sent them, but instead I think they haven't quite got it up yet.
I want to see the cat.
So instead we have the funniest cat videos.
Well, we can just watch it.
Yeah.
Oh.
See, you never know what the universe is going to deliver. So you got to go with flow state. So, you know, you got to have time for a little fun, right?
Who doesn't love cat videos?
Yeah. So the Dolphin Wellness Center debuts with a furless cat. There we go.
Yeah.
But I think it really does present this idea of like the new world that's emerging in virtual reality and the things that we can do in it. So Jeanne's going to be able to construct a kind of space here that will take you to a new level, a new way of approaching virtual and online meditation. So next time, I'm sure there'll be a whale video or some dolphin sounds here for you. But it's a cool place. And if any of you are able to join and find us, you can actually interact here. So I'm hoping one or two of you might be able to find your way here, and then we'll be able to chat with each other through the platform. And you can also connect.
Chat?
Yeah.
Is it verbal or written?
It's chat like you type. Okay. So if anybody else is able to come in, we'll kind of hang out here for a couple minutes while we talk. But if anybody else arrives, we'll see a sphere arrive, and then you can click on the sphere and be able to interact and connect with that person. And then over time, there will be audio. So you would just be able to talk in the same way that we're talking here on Zoom. I mean, you can already do that through the screens, but we're working on a concept that we call spatial talk, or spatial audio, where you would be able to hear. And then if Jeanne has meditations or other audio things, you'll be able to click in and listen kind of in the space to a talk or something else from Jeanne.
That's pretty awesome.
So welcome to the virtual reality version of the Dolphin Touch Wellness Center.
Yes, yes. I love the pyramids. And show them the floor there, that orange to the left.
Oh yeah, this is like our little meditation zone here. So this is meant to be a meditation spot. So this is kind of a Dom and her kind of space, but you want to be able, you can kind of come in and set your focus here and almost like sit in this space.
Right, it's like sitting in the pyramid has a very high vibrational energy.
Yeah. You can just find your space within the space.
I love that you did pyramids.
Yeah. Well, you know, we took some of this, some of the design cues from this from Jeanne's center here in Kapaa, and we wanted to kind of create, you know, she sort of always talks about doing sessions with people under the water. And so when we had the idea to build the space, we thought, well, wouldn't it be fun if we could actually build her an underwater center?
Oh, that is
So
pretty awesome. That's
there you
pretty
go.
fucking awesome. Yeah. What is that? 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Yeah.
And the jellyfish.
Yeah, and we had dolphins, but the dolphins took up a lot of energy. So we're gonna come back to the dolphins, but you can always turn off or turn on gravity. If you wanna fly, you turn off gravity. So we can kind of come up here and check these beautiful jellyfish out. I'm sure at some point there'll be a whale. And then if I pop back up into the more prosaic world, I can turn off my gravity again. We'll now go and have a quick look at the Kukui. So just over this mountain here is what we call the tranquility zone. And it's a space for kind of interaction and a little bit of reflection. And for those of you who are understanding or into Reiki, you'll see that we built this Kukui here. And so
Isn't that cool?
this is kind of
I
fun
love
because we can come in
Yeah.
and then I'll turn off my gravity. And when I turn off my gravity, it drops me down to the ground. Oh, and I just fell down the hill.
Oh.
Come
That's
back
not
up.
what you did. That's trying to figure it
I'm using just my arrows to be able to move around here. And so we have here this entrance.
out. There you go.
And so I'm now inside this hedge. And the idea is that if you know what a Kukui is, you can navigate your way in the same way that you would draw a Kukui.
Which is across down.
Yeah, you can actually trace your way through and almost walk through the Kukui.
And with that, the intention is that you're pulling in the Kukui energy. So the Kukui is turning on. It's like turning the light switch on for the Reiki energy to flow through you. So it's by walking through this symbol, you're turning on that vibrational energy and raising your vibration at the same time.
And this is where we talk about the idea of technology giving us new ways to be able to interact with energy and to kind of feel it in a way that we wouldn't have been able to do before. So if any of you are Reiki practitioners and you want to come in and kind of walk this path, you can come in and walk this path. And what's beautiful is if you don't know anything about Reiki, you might find like a different, you know, build your own walkway because it's all connected. So there's a certain way to walk through it if you know how to draw, or if you know how to create, you know, activate a Kukui. So in our view, there's only one way that the energy from this Kukui is activated, which is to actually follow the path along the way that you would draw it. But another person could come in and just see it as a labyrinth and kind of a fun hedge to get lost in. And, you know, maybe you run into another person as you come around a corner.
And then there's something at the end. Can you get to that place?
Well, yeah, we're just
there.
walking through.
You're making your way there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we are.
And allowing, maybe there's a mouse connected to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of just using my little arrows here to kind of nudge my way up. But you notice how that it's getting tighter because that spiral is getting tighter and tighter. Oh, and look, now we've reached the end. So this is the center of the Kukui, and there will eventually be a rock here, and you'll be able to tap that rock and listen to a meditation or to do an activation of some form.
Cool. Yeah, you want to show them the other, because you have some really cool things in your virtual reality world.
Oh,
Like the
yeah.
fashion district or your memorial.
You know, I think the city is designed to be an evolving place, and so we're constantly finding ways to add more to the city, but it's also very difficult because the bandwidth that's needed to run these sorts of things on the web is pretty significant. So it's a constant effort to keep the bandwidth in a point where you can load it without it crashing your computer and still have it just on the open web, because we're just accessing this from, you know, like you would a normal website. But as we kind of move into this city, we can see that I just landed on the shell.
And those structures on the left, those are like...
Yeah, these are like event structures. So we're hosting events here with some of our partners or people in the community. There's a Lotus over here, which is for really online yoga, and it could be also a meditation center so people can gather. And then there are various spaces that we've been building. There's like an amphitheater. So a person could host a talk here or be able to kind of welcome a group of people. Really beautiful space.
Yeah, that's good.
And then we're going to come over here to the university sector. We're working with 2 universities. I'm going to let this load up for a second. We're building, we built 2 university and the world's first Montessori school in virtual reality. So the Montessori school, we partnered. If any of you have children between the ages of, say, 5 and 11, the Montessori school is a place where they can come and actually meet a real Montessori teacher and be able to have a lesson. And then for university students, eventually this will load up here, are 2 university campuses with classrooms, one for the University of Hawaii and one for American University in Washington. And they're able to host lectures and different ways for students to be able to gather. And then we have a project with the UN for UN youth. It's like a gathering space for UN youth, a technology sector with like essentially a high-rise for offices for technology companies. So a wide variety of different things. This is gonna take a minute to load up. You'll see like the bandwidth issues are always a thing because you have to render the city as you move through it. So kind of get into your district or your area, but it can take a couple minutes for other places to load up. Maybe while we're waiting for that, we'll see if, looks like the tech district is, the fashion district is.
Oh, I love the fashion district.
That's over here.
Yeah, this is even a different way for people to shop, right? They could go.
Yeah, the shopping is still in development, but yeah, that's the idea, is you'd be able to come in and be able to see, again, we're gonna have to let this load up, but you'd be able to come in and see aspects of this and then be able to even find a garment or find something else. Like we're really just experimenting with so much of it. So, but it's fun because it's like the beginnings of a web-based city, and we know that over time it will continue to grow and there'll be different districts. You can actually go from the map, maybe we'll teleport to the fashion district, there we go. You can access this map to be able to see various places in the city, and all these other areas out here where you see kind of very uniform buildings are eventually being rebuilt and redeveloped as the city grows. So this eventually we'll let this fashion district load up. But I guess, do you guys have any questions about accessing it or any comments? Let's see. I don't know, I think I have to go off screen share. Maybe we'll go off screen share for a minute. There we go. Here we go. Okay, yeah, great. So I guess maybe, you know, Jeanne asked me to come and talk to you guys about technology and consciousness, and I suppose if you have any questions about these issues or ideas, or if you have anything you'd like to add, now would be a great time to jump in on that.
Yeah, yeah, feel free. You can unmute yourself. If anybody has a question here on Instagram, and or if you don't want to unmute, you can type in the chat if you'd like, and yeah, just open up to what are we creating. And part of this is a world where we're looking at things differently. And it's almost like, you know, expanding our just by seeing that virtual reality world, I feel like we're expanding our consciousness, and we're like thinking in different ways and seeing the world differently, and seeing how we can interact in the world differently. And we can interact with avatars, like, you know, not even human face-to-face connection, but we can connect on in this virtual reality space in a totally different way.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where we're going to, and this is just the beginning of what's going to be possible with that. The world of immersive technology is really upon us, between the idea of the web, virtual reality, and augmented reality. So augmented reality is the space in between. You know, imagine if you have a pair of glasses or some other way of being able to augment the space around you. So in this room, imagine you could actually be able to look through a screen, or even just hold up your phone. And basically the way it works is that the augmented reality will recognize that space, and then it will match that to data that's held in a database, and then be able to pull something out at you. And so that's what augmented reality is. So you'd be able to go into a physical space and pull something virtual from that physical space, or you go into a virtual space and you're able to pull some aspect of the physical, in this case, really through video or that kind of like live interaction. So the world that we're building, it's easier for you guys to use Zoom today because most people are familiar with Zoom, but that space that we were in there, Jeanne would be able to do a very similar type of video conversation where she's pulling the physical into the virtual. I think that's the future, is moving and connecting the two, and trying to do that consciously is, I think, where we're all at in terms of the experiment. Like, how do we actually do that in a way that's going to be meaningful?
Yeah. Let me check Facebook if there's any questions. Oh, I don't know where it is now.
Oh, I minimized it. I think it's down here.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to read those? I find it helpful to stay connected with people. Yeah. Sweet. Okay, so are we back here?
Oh,
I don't know.
Here, I'm going to just pull that down.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to minimize that.
Oh, it looks like it loaded.
There. I think that's still loading.
Wow.
I have to zoom back here.
Yeah, so this is part of the new paradigm, and part of the new paradigm is a new way of looking at how we interact in the world and how we exist in this reality. And I love this idea that we're coming to a new place where we're looking at different ways of being and different ways of existing. Oh, there it is, the fashion. I love it.
Yeah, let's keep talking.
Yeah, so yeah, we're in the fashion district, which I love because my daughter is a fashion model that she loves to share, so she would totally love this. And this reminds me totally of Fifth Avenue in New York, and it really has the feel of that, or even Times Square, where you're walking down and there's all these buildings with all these billboards and different advertisements, and you can literally walk into certain buildings and shop eventually, I guess is the idea.
Well, the idea here is that you have like a video screen. You have some of these things are fairly common. We have elevators. You take the elevator up to like a private viewing room, so you can basically do a consultation with another person in this space. So it's just a totally different way of interacting.
Right.
And being able to engage with people. And I think that this is, again, just the very, very earliest beginning of so many things that are being accelerated by the pandemic in terms of what we're thinking about, what we're creating, and the need and interest to be able to do it, you know? Like, we didn't necessarily have to do this before, but, you know, by this time next year, I think people are going to be very sick of Zoom. And so thinking about like where we go beyond for people to interact and to connect is going to be really important for us. And I think this idea of mixing a lot of activity is also really great. You can find different ways to interact and to intersect with people and to find new ways to connect with them. We're going to let that load up for a second, and you'll see in a moment, this is a technology building. This is one of our partners, and they can come in here, coming along through this garden area. It's going to be a high rise that emerges here. Hopefully, there it is.
Ta-da! Wow, you're amazing. Just made a high rise.
Yeah, and so you can kind of come in to this beautiful space, you know, and these are all, this is all office buildings basically. So each floor is a different office for a different partner. And you can just come in, have a presentation here, but you can also be able to take an elevator to a different level. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
One of my favorite spaces here is actually the university.
Mm.
Um,
I love it.
yeah, so there's a lot of fun things that you can kind of do here. I need to close this window. I'm not even sure how to do that. But I think, again, like this just presents some ideas and some thinking about where we can go with a lot of this and the ways that all of this can evolve and move together. I'll just go back to my little elevator here.
You need to go back to the Well, I'm excited because, you know, we're making advances in ways that we hadn't even thought possible. So we're taking this to whole new levels that now it expands our mind to like, oh, okay. Like for me, it's like I can have a meditation and I can have a group of people or their avatars lying down, and because I cannot have more than 10 people at Dolphin Touch, but I can have a meditation with 25 people in a space like that, because right now we're not allowed to do something like that, but we could in this environment. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it opens up a whole new way of being, a whole new way of doing. Even the retreat, I mean, the last retreat we had was in Fiji, and that was awesome, and that was with Elizabeth Gilbert, and Liesel ran the retreat, and it was like wonderful to have that with 200 women and to be a part of that. But that was just before the pandemic hit, and now we can't do any retreats, but this is another way that people can still connect and interact and feel that connection, because it's like the difference between that and Zoom to me is like it's an immersion into this world. It really takes you into this virtual reality world where you really feel like you're there in this other dimensional space rather than Zoom where it's just a video.
Yeah, and I think both have value. You know, the beauty of Zoom is you get to feel connected with us while we're talking here, and maybe catch some glimpses of the sea as the light changes. You know, but this is also fun. Like I've now loaded the university sector. I'll go back and
Which
share.
university is that?
This is the University of Hawaii.
Oh, nice.
So you should be able to see this now. So, you know, these are all classrooms, virtual
I don't
classrooms.
think you should share.
I think I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll do it this way. Oops. I did lose it. Yeah, so you can see here these classrooms, and one of my favorite things is this Montessori school in the back where we're helping kids to be able to learn in different and new ways. And so this Montessori school.
Oh, it's a tree.
Yeah, it's a tree of knowledge.
That is cool.
So you can bring your kids here, and there's like learning spaces. You can kind of, I'll zoom up here.
So can people do this now?
Mm-hmm. Yep, this is just part of the city. And so if you have children, you can bring them into this kind of educational space. And there's just lots of fun things for a kid to be able to kind of enjoy, and you can tap on to educational lessons from teachers. And my favorite thing about this is that we did this constellation space, which is very relevant for this week's conjunction. You have all the planets here.
Oh, that's cool.
And they're all set against the sun. So a child can come in and actually feel and see in a different way, like the position of the earth relative to the sun.
Mm.
Yeah. See, do you have the moon? Yeah, we even have the moon there. See, isn't that great? And so for a child to come in and be able to kind of understand and feel like the size of Jupiter compared to Mars, compared to Saturn. Did you know that Saturn's almost as big as Jupiter?
Wow.
Well, but it's just farther away.
That's what's weird.
Yeah, that's where our we didn't program the conjunction.
You didn't put that in.
But it's fun to kind of just see these planets here, and for a child, you know, I think if I was learning about astronomy as a kid in school, to be able to come in and experience it in a place like this, it's like totally, it's almost like a little field trip for a kid. So this is where, like, you know, for everybody, the ways that we're learning are changing, the ways that we're experiencing. There's Neptune, it's all changing. But you know, I love that this can become a kind of classroom, a place for a kid to kind of come and learn.
And the teacher, you said there's a teacher?
Yeah, we have a Montessori school partner in Washington, D.C., Children's House of Washington. And you can actually book a private lesson for your child if you want. And then here's a video screen. And you can basically tap in and do a video call with a live video call with the teacher.
Wow.
Okay, well, I think my hour is up. What's next on the agenda?
Yes, we're going to talk about some fun stuff with Sophia. And yeah, well, you have Bitcoin though, right? You have no, not, what's it called? A cryptocurrency, excuse me.
Well, we were really early in the world of cryptocurrencies, digital currencies. So we have a fund that invests in things like Bitcoin. And we also operate Ven, which is a digital currency that has been running for 13 years now. And so within Hub Culture, Emerald City, everything that we're doing, all the financial transactions and the value creation is done through our digital currency. That's how we are able to kind of grow the ecosystem. We think of Hub very much like a virtual country. And so spaces like Emerald City are creating that territory, so to speak. Mm-hmm. The Hub Culture social network provides a lot of opportunity for people to find value and to grow value. And then Ven is the currency that allows all of that value to find, you know, monetary scope.
That is pretty awesome. Yay.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thanks for the space and sharing.
I hope you guys can all enjoy that. And I guess I'll be back later for meditation or something.
For sure. Yes. Oh, okay. Oh, how are we all doing? Let me see. Okay. Nice. Just, I think we're going to take a little energy break. And I just want you to, so we're going to have Sophia come on, and she's going to talk about, you know, how you manifest with money, how you use money, you know, how we shift our vibration and our energy with money. And our relationship with money is really interesting because that's where our relationship is not just restricted to money. It's restricted. It's all relationships. It's your family relationships, your partner relationships, your relationship with your own body. You know, all of those are relationships. So we're all coming into understanding how relationships work. And Sophia's going to talk about that in a few minutes. She's coming on, and she'll be helping us come to a place where we are working on consciously creating, like we've been talking about all day, consciously creating energy and vibration and motivation to what we want to manifest, and just expanding our mind, just like the virtual reality world expanded our consciousness to like what else is possible. We're going to expand our mind to like what else can we bring in to this reality? What else can we, what the abundance, the health, the everything that, you know, we're just, as we expand our consciousness, we're expanding to allow more and more to come into our reality. So she's going to talk about that. And we are going to learn how we can come into a place where we're just opening up and allowing more. So yeah, so we've been throwing a lot of stuff at you the last couple of minutes, and I just want you to check in with your energy. If you haven't, please get some water to drink. I have my tea, and make sure you're hydrating. Make sure you're checking in with your body, and make sure you're coming and you're grounded. So this is some high vibrational stuff, and I wanted to bring this in because I knew we were all ready for it, but sometimes it can get a little ungrounding. So let's just take a moment while we have a few minutes here, and let's just ground in our energy. Let's just breathe in. And we talked a little bit about how we, sorry, I'm getting dark here. We talked a little bit about how we feel a bit out of control. And I know we definitely want to be in the flow state, but it could be a little unsettling to be in control. So if you're getting anxious or nervous at any point in your life, like you're feeling out of control, this is an exercise that was shared to me by the Dolphins to help get back control of your life. There are many things going on that we can't control, or we feel like we can't control, like the government or the economy, or certain family members, or things that are happening. And it could be a little discerning, unsettling. So one way we can gain back control is by using our breath. And this was shared to me by the Dolphins, so I love talking about this. Oh, Stan, you didn't talk about the dolphin story. We'll have to save that for another time. Yeah, so we have to ask Stan about his amazing manifestation of a dolphin on the beach of Kauai, right here during his stay on Kauai. So, getting back to the dolphin breath, what this does is whenever we're feeling a bit lost or confused or unsettled or overwhelmed or anxious or whatever those feelings are, you can use this technique to help you gain back control of the one thing you can control, and that's your breath. So we're gonna work on our breath and in a conscious way. I don't know if you know about dolphins, but every breath a dolphin takes is a conscious breath. They have to physically break the surface of the water, breathe, and go back down because they are mammals. They're not fish with fins. They actually have to breathe in air through their blowhole and exhale. So dolphins are very conscious creatures. In every moment, they have to consciously breathe. We, of course, breathe, but we don't think about our breath. We just naturally breathe, and we think, oh yeah, that's fine. We're breathing and everything's cool. But if we take time to consciously focus on our breath, it's a way of us controlling. The rooster is agreeing over here. It's a way of us controlling what we can control, and that is our breath. So what I want you to do is practice breathing in for 3, holds for a count of 4, and exhale for a count of 5. So this is the 3, 4, 5 breath that was shared to me by the dolphins. And this helps you to get more control of things in your life that, you know, when you're in a place where you're feeling lost. Let's say you're driving and there's traffic and you're very frustrated and you can't get out of the traffic, or you can't do anything about the car in front of you, and you're just driving and you feel the tension rising. What you can do is this 3, 4, 5 breath. So breathe in for 3, hold for 4, and exhale for 5. And again, breathe in for 3, hold for 4, and exhale for 5. And one more time, breathe in for 3, hold for 4, and exhale for 5. And let's do it again. Breathe in for 3, hold for 4, and exhale for 5. Hopefully that felt a little powerful for you to shift and move your energy. And the other thing is, we're going to add one more step. And as you're breathing in, breathe in clean, clear, life-giving oxygen. Holding for 4, and then exhaling for 5. Again, breathe in for 3, hold for 4, and exhale for 5. And one more time, breathe in for 3, hold for 4, and exhale for 5. And the dolphins have shared that your breath is very powerful in the sense that you are able to move the energy within your own body with conscious intention, with an intention that says, I want to shift my energy. I want to raise my vibration. I want to come into a place of more peace and balance. And it gives you the one thing that you can control, and that's your breath, back to you. It empowers you by giving your energy and your focus and your control back to you, rather than just allowing it to go. Yeah, so practice that for a little bit. Try that breath. And while you're doing that, I'm going to connect to the next guest. And just feel that breath work. And tell me what you're getting from that. So you breathe in. Just let that energy flow through. Breathing in, flowing out. Use your breath to shift your vibration, shift your energy. Feel that shift. I just hung up on everybody. There we go. Take a few minutes. I'm just going to connect to the next guest. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So Sophia's going to join us in a few minutes. And love to hear how you guys are feeling about what we're offering so far. It's quite a bit of things going on here, but it's all meant to raise your vibration, raise your intention. I guess you heard that the planets are in alignment. There's a lot going on. And part of this new era that we're going into is creating community. That's why this virtual world that Stan has created is so awesome. And creating community is going to be pivotal, that we're going to look at new ways of connecting and sharing with one another. We're creating a different way of interacting with one another and a different way of creating community. Here on Kauai, we love to connect with people. In my space at Dolphin Touch Wellness Center, and I mean, we've had up to 100 people at events and different things there, but now we have to think of new ways of creating community and interacting and connecting with one another, because with the dolphins, it's all about the dolphin pod, and the pod is what keeps us together, what keeps us connected. In a dolphin pod, the aunties are the ones that raise the dolphins. You know, it's not the mother always that's having the dolphin raised by the mom. It's very often a surrogate, like an auntie will take care of the baby and raise the baby that way. So there's a lot of different ways that community can help one another. And again, it's not that feeling like we have to do everything ourselves. It's like we can ask for help. We can, you know, come together and support and uplift one another. And hopefully that's where we're moving into that new reality where we're supporting and helping and uplifting one another. So yeah, we're gonna have, so my next guest, Sophia, is someone who has been pretty, well, I met her recently, but it's been, I would say, you know, in the last couple of months here on Kauai. And it's one of those people you just connect with immediately. Like you meet someone and you feel this connection and you just know that there's something there, you know, and she also is interested in Reiki, and she'd come to the Reiki circles and interact with us on many different levels. But what's interesting I found about her is that she was in the corporate world. She had a history in a corporate environment, and it nearly killed her. And she was actually told she only had 2 weeks left to live. And from that experience, she was able to look at her life and see what really matters, and shifted totally from the corporate world into a more spiritual based environment. And she still works in the corporate world, but as a coach and advisor, and to shift people's thinking into more conscious way of being, which is similar to what Stan was talking about, where Stan is wanting to shift into a more conscious state of being. And we are coming to a place where I think this is her. I'm going to say it. And let me see. All right. So, hey, hi. It's funny.
Aloha.
It shows you as Jeannie Russell.
I got a tan.
You got my name somehow. So I am going to, let's see, what am I going to do? I am going to add spotlight. There we go. There. All right. And for those on Instagram, I'm going to see if I can get the screen. Well, I don't think they're going to be able to, but how are you doing, Michelle? How are you doing, Sophia? Thank you so much. I'm looking at Michelle's name here. Huh? I don't know who you are.
Whoever.
Jeannie. Let me see if I can make this a little louder. There you go. Okay.
I did the solstice circle this morning at Larson's Beach. So.
Oh, lovely. I love Larson's Beach. Yes. Yeah. So I gave him a little intro, but if you could just introduce yourself to everybody and let us know who you are, where you came from, and what you want to share.
Okay. Well, my name is Sophia Leva Marie. For a long time, I've called myself a self-love tour guide because I believe everything comes back to self-love, whether it's about business or what you're wanting to receive, a partner, anything. It's about how much you love yourself. And then as I've gone through, someone said that I'm a permissionary, which is actually very true. I'm about giving permission for your body, your choices, your life, your business. And what I did is I took my background from corporate. I did corporate sales training, corporate business building, and then I burned out hard. They actually gave me 2 weeks to live. So I obviously was well out of balance. And I had to learn how to live differently, how to do relationships differently, and how to do business differently, which all again stems from the self-love. So when I was feeling into, when you asked me about this, Jeannie, what it was is about who we think we are and how we make our decisions. So that's kind of how it came up with the business of you, is because we make decisions on who we think we are. And often it's misguided because it's not from the truth of you. It's from, you know, perhaps something society said, or a religion said, or family said. And this year has been really beautiful in unraveling a lot of those pieces of what we think is true about the economy, or what we think is true about what's happening between the races, what we think is true, you know, between relationships when, you know, you're together 24/7. A lot of truths have come.
Right. Yeah. Challenging truths.
Yes, but it also helps to, you know, when you think of like a diamond, like when there's friction, that's when like the purity and the beauty really comes, the strength. And so we've gone through this really challenging year, and now it's time for us to kind of like reflect back on all the things that were unveiled, and now we get to choose again. That's the great thing about choices. We get to constantly choose. And that's also a place where people get stuck, is they kind of have the till death do you part relationship with their decisions. They feel like, I made this decision, I have to stick with it. I'm in this relationship, so I'm supposed to stay in it, even if they're unhappy. I said yes to this job. Well, it's kind of working, so I'm just going to stick with it. So we get to choose again.
A lot of that. Totally. Yes, I totally can relate to that.
Yes. So it's about breaking that till death do you part kind of relationship with your choices, and getting to know, okay, who am I? And like the truth of me, like what are actually my desires? Because, you know, in the spiritual community, we're always talking about create your desires. And, you know, that's certainly part of the work that I do. But if your desires are based on a false sense of self,
exactly,
or a false foundation,
right,
you're going for something that's not really you, that's not really accurate. So there isn't an alignment, there's not a match.
And you're thinking small. I mean, that's part of what we've been, I mean, I did meditation earlier, and the whole point was to expand your consciousness and open up these areas that we may not have explored before. And the whole virtual reality world that we did just before you came in was, again, an expansion of consciousness. Like, you know, not many people have seen that before. You know, so we're like coming into a new, like, whoa, I feel like, even for myself, like my mind's almost busting here because of all the new shifts and expansions that are coming. And if we're coming from a limited belief system, then we're going to stay limited. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Or what we think is possible. For instance, I was going through like a guided meditation with a client last night, and we were talking about, let's say it's a year from now, so it's December 2021. And as he was going through and telling me what he's seeing, and I said, okay, also let go of the things, you know, what was coming up was co-parenting. Because I was like, where are you? What are you doing? And he was still kind of constrained into, you know, like, well, I have to take my ex-wife into consideration, all these things. So when we're looking at our desires, or we're looking at what we think is possible, we're relating to it from what we see. and from what we're experiencing, which there's infinite possibilities. So it's like when you ask for what you actually desire, then you can see how the universe allows it to show up.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I love the permission part, because, you know, part of it is like, you know, having the permission to ask for what we really do desire.
Yes.
I mean, really, even the simplest things. Like I was looking at the stars the other night and I asked for, gee, wouldn't it be nice to see a shooting star? And then 5 minutes later, 2 seconds later, there's a shooting star going across, and then another one. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's even better than I would have thought, you know? So yeah, like, what else is possible?
Yes, yes. And you can also add the things that you desire. Like, for instance, I had something similar with, I wanted to see a gorgeous sunset. And I also didn't want to move from my lanai. So I was like, can I see, oh, it was actually fireworks and a sunset. And so like 5 minutes, or not even 5 minutes later, like about 30 seconds later, the house across the street, they had fireworks going off. And it was this glorious sunset, and I didn't have to move.
Yeah.
So that's just a simple thing. But when we're talking about, you know, our life, we often don't ask for those things because we think, I can't have that. Or, you know, when we're talking about our identity, it's like, do I deserve that?
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of people think about their past. You know, it's something that I had to reconcile is, you know, I came out of a very strict religious household, and then I self-destructed for a while. So I went the complete opposite. I went wild.
I've heard this story before. A lot of people in the religious world have done that. Yeah.
Yes. And then I had to reconcile that later. It's like, oh, I did these things that are bad or inappropriate, or who am I to teach? Who am I to guide these things? But that's not actually true. It's if it's come to you, it's for you. Like if you have a desire, that energy is there for a particular reason. It's showing you where your energy is, whether it's a particular vehicle, or if it's, you know, travel, or that, you know, it may not show up instantly. It can, but it's showing you where your energy is. Like I had a client, she had a particular car show up this year, and she's like, oh yeah, a Jaguar. I'd really love to have that. That's in the future. And I was like, well, why? Why does it have to be in the future? So we did some work around it. And about 10 days later, she had this car in her garage. And that car opened up a new client for her, as well as a new level of permission and expansion and wealth, because she let herself have it, because that's where her energy was. Mm-hmm. We don't have desires, you know, randomly.
Right. There was a client of mine that was talking about, he had seen the movie The Secret. And in the movie The Secret, of course, they talk about driving a car, and you're driving this car. Whoop. And in bing, it must have been powerful. And in that scene, all he could imagine was, he didn't have a car, he didn't have any money at the time. All he could imagine was his previous truck that he had already sold. And he imagined himself driving his truck and having his truck. And sure enough, a few days later, the person who he had sold the truck to called him and said, hey, I'm the one that bought your truck. Would you like it back? And he said, yeah, I'd love it, but I have no money. I can't afford it. And she says, listen, I'm in San Francisco. I'm paying $400 a month rent. I will give you the truck. I'll drive it over tomorrow if you want to take it. And he's like, yeah, great. You know, and he just manifested his own, you know, that was in his consciousness. So my question though is like, what if those things you want to manifest, like, you know, a big thing, which is maybe a stretch for you to think of, you know, how do you get to that place where you can say, oh yeah, I'm allowing this in, or I can allow that in?
So the one thing I would say is, number one, to not see anything as big or small. You know, if you've ever listened to Abraham Hicks,
Yeah.
Esther talks about there's no difference between asking for a castle or a button. There's no, the universe doesn't see big or small. So you can ask for what you really like, or you can ask for something you think you can have, which is what most people do. So when you're in that stretch, first of all, it's not seeing it as big, and it's also moving towards it. It's a choice. Number one is making the choice that you're going to have it, that you will have it, because there's a different vibration and a different energy in making a declaration and claiming something, rather than, oh, I'd like this. But when you actually claim it, like, I don't know how, but I'm going to have this, and you start moving towards that. You know, for instance, years ago when I wanted to go to Italy, I was invited to a spiritual wealth intensive to this castle in Venice. It was about 4 weeks away when I got the invitation. I think the ticket for the event was $3,500. A plane ticket was about the same. Then there was all the other hotel and all the other things. And I had no idea how I was going to do that, but I knew that I had to be there. And it was just making that decision and like constantly moving towards it and doing the things I could. So first it was like clearing my schedule, telling people I wasn't going to be there, you know, starting to mentally pack things. I bought a journal. I started to do the things I could do towards that, and constantly moving and showing the universe that I'm actively choosing this. Because receiving isn't passive.
Right.
Receiving isn't like, oh, thank you, God, you were just dropping it into my life. I mean, it can be that easy.
It can be, but yeah.
It can be.
It
But
can
receiving is, again, it's choosing. It's, okay, all right, I'm making this decision. Where do I go? Who do I talk to? It's really being in the question. It's taking the steps and showing your commitment to the universe that you are choosing this, that you are having it. And then when the universe sees that, then it starts to move with you, and then it comes together in ways that are truly miraculous.
Absolutely. Yeah. What would you say the action steps are towards moving closer to your manifestation? Like what action steps would be the best and the highest producing to get to your goal?
Well, you know, it depends on what you're asking for. But, you know, it's really taking the embodied steps towards what you're asking for. Like, for instance, if you're asking for a beloved, you know, as you said to me today, write down the list of what you're asking for.
Yes, yes.
You know, setting a place on your table, you can do something like that. You can make sure that there's actually space in your closet and in your bedroom. Like, would this actually be an inviting place for a beloved? You can start to take those steps. And it's also looking at yourself, okay, would I be a good partner? And working on those steps or those pieces that you think perhaps could use some elevation and energy. If perhaps you're asking for money, okay, well, looking at what do I have right now, getting super clear where you are exactly right now, what resources you have, and asking the universe to show you what other resources you have. Show me is one of the best, you know, requests of the universe. Show me beauty, show me wealth, show me the resources that I don't know that I have. It's a really beautiful practice. So it's whatever kind of embodiment you can create with what you're actually asking for, something that is related to your specific, what you're desiring to receive, and also knowing that it's not outside of you either.
Right.
That's a big piece.
Well, how would you clear what is inside you, like beliefs or things that you know are blocking that flow from coming?
Mhm. Well, you know, we can do it the long way, or we can do it the easy way.
I definitely like the short way. I don't know if anybody else listening, but yeah.
Me too. Me too. So for years, what I've practiced and what I've also taught is that when you start to choose that energy that you're desiring and start to be that energy, what's in the way naturally comes up. So if you're desiring love and you start being more loving and you're actively doing things and reflecting love, what's in the way comes up. When there's something around money, you'll start to see the beliefs come up. So when you actually start choosing, okay, I'm going to start moving towards this. I'm going to choose this trip. I'm going to choose to work with this person. I'm going to choose to, move somewhere else. As you start to move towards that, literally what's been in your way, literally what you've put in the way comes up naturally. And then you can address it then. So you don't have to, as a mentor said, excavate through everything. It's just you start choosing and being that person who has what you're asking for. And then what's in the way, it just comes up, and then you can go ahead and it's ready to leave then.
Yeah, I feel Masajati says, notice what you notice. And I love that, because it's like the universe will show you where you need to work or where you need to shift, or what, it'll give you life experiences, or things will happen that is like, okay, here's an opportunity for you to grow. And, oh, you didn't get it that time? Well, here's another opportunity for you to grow. Oh, you still don't get it? Well, here's another opportunity for you to grow, until you like get it. And then it's like, oh yeah, okay, I'm ready to shift.
Yes, yes, yes. And I mean, it can be really subtle, the things, I had a client, she's choosing to do a retreat here with me, and she noticed what was coming up is that she was wanting to like almost disconnect from the money piece of it. And it's like, okay, so if you're wanting to disconnect to money, you're asking money to come in, and it's just those really subtle things that come in, and it's like, for you to notice. And again, it's not for you to judge. As you said, it's just to notice. And when it's coming up, then it means that it's up for you to let it go. It's, like when you're growing something in the ground, you don't have to like dig it out, but it's actually like blossomed enough for you to like pluck it out. And it's really interesting to see and to notice, like, okay, I'm moving towards this desire. What's actually coming up? Like, for instance, if you're wanting love, are you wanting to contract? Are you wanting to be less social? Do you feel like anger is coming up, or are you thinking about your parents or things like that? You can start to see these little tendrils that have been entrenched in kind of like your underlying programming, and they're now ready to be uprooted so that you can actually have it.
Yeah, would you say that language too is like, your language is pretty important?
It is. We literally get to script our life. Like, if you notice what you are saying, do you say, oh, I really desire this, but it never happens. I really am looking forward to having this. Oh, but I'm never the person that gets that. Are you saying what you're wanting and then immediately disengaging from the energy? I love the energy of words and the meaning of words. Like, a simple one that a lot of people use is I want. Years ago, I believe it was in the 1950s, they changed the dictionaries. And before that, I want, there were, I believe, 28. I could be off on the number, but there were 28 versions or definitions of that meant I lack. So every time you're saying I want something, which in manifesting people are like, oh, I want this car, I want this lover, I want this. They're saying I lack, I lack, I lack. So it's like the energy of it in your words can be affecting what you're saying. And just, again, notice, what are you saying? And like, what's the reflection back to you? Maybe ask someone you're close to, okay, I'm looking to have this in my life. What do you notice that I say about this? Do I always say that partner's never there? It never happens to me. I have all this betrayal, all these different things. What do you notice? And again, that can start to show you where you're kind of pricking holes in what you're wanting to create.
Right. What did they say? Want creates more want. I mean, it'll always be like this unreachable thing instead of just stating. And I think we have trouble just stating that I'm going to have this Jaguar. I'm going to drive this Jaguar. It's funny, like when I think about my trip to Hawaii, my manifestation of living here in Hawaii, my husband and I had told so many people that we were going to move to Hawaii, we were going to come to Hawaii. And, you know, when he finished his residency, we were going to move to Hawaii. And it was in our consciousness that that was going to happen. And then when it got close to happening, the person that he was going to work for wound up hiring another oral surgeon, didn't need my husband's services. And it was like, wait, what? You know, like and for 4 years we had say, oh, we're going to move to Hawaii. As soon as he's done with this residency, we're going to move to Hawaii. So we were like dumbfounded because, you know, all our energy and our vibration was in Hawaii. We actually gave other opportunities away. He had a beautiful job, you know, a wonderful salary, a nice car, and he could have been in Lansing, Michigan. He could have moved to Ohio. He could have moved to all these places, and none of them, excuse me for the temperature. I don't know if you guys live there, but
I grew up in Michigan, so
I'm like, oh man,
Hawaii's a better choice.
Yeah, you can't entice me with this, enough of a salary to live there. But it, you know, but still, like, you know, we were so set on it. And then he's like, oh, you know, we were just so dumbfounded. And then luckily he said to us, why don't you check out Kauai? We thought we were going to wind up on Maui. But he said, why don't you check out Kauai? There's no oral surgeon over there. And just a whole nother door open that we didn't even think about. I never even heard of Kauai. Like, what's that? You know, I didn't even know it was another island, you know. And then the crazy manifestation that boom, 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 things happen. We passed the test. We found a doctor here. He gave us a place to stay. He set him up in his office. I mean, it was just like all these doors just opened. But I think because we had so much momentum and so much focus for those 4 years, like we know you know, because we went on our honeymoon and then he did his residency for 4 years. So ever since the honeymoon, we were like, okay, we're going to move to Hawaii. You're going to finish your residency. This is the way it's going to be. And it didn't show up the way we thought, but we had enough momentum going that it still manifested. So that's pretty cool yeah, you just set your intent, and who knows how, when, where, all the details, you know, it doesn't really matter, right? You just set your intention, say this is what you want, and ask the universe to assist in making that happen.
Yes, yes. And sometimes, you know, people are redirected, as you say, you don't know the path. But you'll still end up there. I always love the analogy of a pilot. Over 90% of the time, a pilot is correcting course. You still get there on time. You still get to the place you're going to. But more than 90% of the time in flight, the pilot is correcting.
Really?
So sometimes, you know, we're like, it should be a straight shot, and it's not. You know, when I went to move to Italy, I literally was at LAX airport and I felt not to get on the plane. And I was like, but I want to. I'm going home. What the hell? And I was just like, okay. And so I'm literally at the airport and I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to get on this plane to Italy to move there, and I'm getting this no. So, you know, years ago I committed to following the energy. So I was kind of like, okay, I will listen. And I didn't get any guidance past other than don't get on the plane. So I have a friend who lives 10 minutes from LAX, and I called her up and I said, well, okay, so I was getting on this plane and now I'm not. So can I come stay with you for a couple days while I figure out what's going on? And she said yes. So she picked me up. And then the next day I got the guidance to go to Starbucks. And I'm at Starbucks, I'm scrolling through, and a friend of mine was on Facebook Live, and she popped me on, and we're like, why don't we get off Facebook Live and actually have a conversation? So we were talking, and I was telling her what's going on, and she said, well, I could actually use some support with my kids, because the reason I got into coaching initially was to work with children who had trauma and abuse. So she lived in Boston. So 2 days later, I was in Boston. For 9 months, I got to work with these 3 amazing kids who I'm still very close to. And then I went to Italy, and I moved to Italy. But it's like I was redirected. I had a piece that I required to do that is actually on the path. It didn't look like it. And I also had to be willing to listen, because I could have ignored the guidance and gotten on the plane. Like, I have my ticket, I have my place, I'm supposed to go, you know, but it's also, are you willing to follow the guidance even when you're like, but I'm going over there?
Yeah. I thought you were going to tell me like the plane crashed or something. No. No. I was just supposed to go work with those kids. And, you know, that's part of what's close to me and part of my path and part of my heart. And I got to assist these kids. And then Italy came in divine timing. It wasn't in my particular timing that I had, you know, chosen, but divinely it all worked out. And again, it just, you know, again, I was in Boston 2 days later. So everything aligned when you align yourself with what you're being guided and with the timing that's available. I love that story. And I love how you trusted spirit, you know, even though it told you something that not all of us would have listened to, you know. We would have been like, no, I'm getting on that plane. I don't care.
I usually
be quiet.
Right. You know, I had my human moment of like, but I really want to get on this plane. What if I do get on this plane? You know, it's a human thing. But, you know, I have, again, committed to following the energy. So I learn, you know, to follow it. And, you know, sometimes it's not easy, but universe always puts you in magical places. I mean, I wouldn't have expected to live here on Kauai either. I was invited for vacation and set up some private client retreats between Maui and Kauai. And when I was here, I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be here. So I never left. So
as a way of doing that.
So just listening and being willing to be guided and to see what the universe puts in front of you. It puts some really amazing things.
Right. If we truly surrender and let go, and part of the trust, so part of it is finding that trust. So how would you recommend people who are starting off, like maybe not so trusting as you are to your guides, like how do people get to that place where they trust the message that they're receiving, and they can relax in the decision, just knowing that they've chosen the right thing?
Practice. You know, you don't go from, you know, just a small, seemingly, you know, okay, turn left here, to, okay, you're going to move to a different country tomorrow.
Right.
you know, it is a practice, and trust is something that you learn for yourself. When they say trust is earned, it's earning it for you. It's not earning it for the universe. It's getting into relationship with that. And you can just start, again, you know, there is no big or small, but relationally, okay, universe, where do I go today? Which way do I go? You know, take an intuitive drive. Okay, universe, show me where you want me to go. And just let yourself be led and see where you end up, see what the universe wants to show you. So when you start being in the practice of it, you learn to trust that. And then you can trust yourself with it. And then you just incrementally create it as a lifetime.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, small moves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did a video on that. Yeah, small moves. Yeah, start small. You don't have to start with something big, like a move to Italy, but you know, just like, yeah, just pay attention to the voice. And if it tells, you know, and even when, like I tell people when they're eating, you know, tap into your body. You know, we're like, oh, okay, you go and order something, and you know, like sometimes I'll order something and I'm just getting a big no, you know, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna eat that, you know, from a restaurant or something, and it's like, you know, yeah, and even, you know, because my husband is, you know, he'll have his big meal, and I'm like, yeah, I just want a salad, and it's, you know, I'm trying to always like check in with my body and see what is it that my body is, what nourishment does my body need right now, and having this little conversation and intuitively feeling. And I'm learning to trust that. Sometimes I still will deviate and I'll have the ice cream or the cake and regret it later, but you know, that's all part of the game, right? You know, like, well, I knew I'd have to pay for that one, but it's like we're coming into a place where it's like we're super sensitive. I mean, our sensitivity is like just off the charts. Like we're awakening our intuition. We're awakening telecommunication. We're awakening our ability to sense and feel and read people's thoughts and energy and everything else. So like the same applies to us in our own body, like, you know, super sensitive. So if we're putting something in our body that is lower vibrational, you know, it just doesn't fit. And so tapping into that more and more and more and expanding that.
I love that you brought up the body, because the body is one of your biggest assets, because your body is this in tune kind of tuning fork that has the awareness of the 360-degree view, which is your intuition, whereas we operate from our mind, which is based on the past or the future that we think we want based on the past. But your body is open to all of this information, and it can tell you if you start to connect with it. And everything that we experience is actually through our body. Like you said, food is for our bodies. Our homes are for our bodies. The things we purchase with money are for our bodies. And your body can tell you, like, for instance, if you're desiring to create more money, your body can actually tell you where the money is, whether it's a client or a connection or things like that, because the money is actually for your body. So when you start to be in tune with your body and start to really create that communion, and having this as one of your best assets rather than just something you kind of like drag around and slap clothes on and stuff and whatever, when you actually use it as a tool and your best friend, you are so much further ahead because you're actually tapping into that level of intuition.
Absolutely. Yeah. Different relationships. So it's your relationship with money is also related to your relationship with your body, your relationship with your friendship, your relationship with your, you know, all of your relationships. It's just another relationship. And
Yes.
do you see money as let's just say money or abundance or whatever you want, as an entity or a vibration or an energy, or how do you interpret it?
It's an energy. So there is no separation in energies. Like, for instance, if there's like a disconnect in receiving money, you're also disconnected from receiving in other places of your life. It's just a reflection, and it's neutral. For instance, you know, there can be people that have a lot of money and they're allowing it. And there can be someone in the spiritual community who's like, you know, teaching and always loving and this, but they have kind of this lack mentality. And so they don't receive it. It's just money reflects what you believe about it and what you perceive about it. If you're willing to have it, it's willing to be with you. If you're judging it, it doesn't want to be with you. If your relationship with money is playful and receiving, and you're willing to receive from everyone and everything, you will. But if you believe I can only receive from, let's say, my job or my partner or an inheritance, that's literally the only way. Because you're the one cutting off those channels. Because money's an energy. It doesn't come, it's a discussion you and I have had, it doesn't come from people. It comes through people. Like, abundance energy is a reflection of spirit, and we are the ones who decide which channels it can come through. So the more channels you're willing to receive from, the more it can come through to you.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know, I was just thinking, you know, when you were talking about going to Italy and then you got the intuition or the hit not to go, I'm sure the one thing that's challenging for a lot of people is if they do have a partner and you're like, I'm getting the hit not to get on the plane, and they'll be like, well, what are you talking about? We're going to Italy. What do you mean?
Yeah.
That could propose, that could be a problem.
Yes. Yes. So then it's a matter of claiming your power in your knowing. Like, if you really have an intuition, we should not get on that plane. There's a reason for that. You may not know why. You may not even find out right away. But there is a reason. And when you're actually in your power, you can actually be in relationship and say, you know, honey, I'm really feeling like we shouldn't. And if you're in that kind of communication with your partner, hopefully they'll honor that. And, you know, sometimes they don't. So then you get to choose also. Everything's always a choice. You may have an awareness and you can go against it. But it's like, do you actually claim that knowing and stand in that? And that's a choice for you. And it's how you get to know yourself in relationship, and relationships are ever evolving. Like, you may have had a relationship, say, for like 15 years one way, and then you start to shift, and then your partner's like, you've been doing it this way all along. I don't know who you are this way.
Right.
So, you know, it's getting to know each other on this level today, because that person who you were when you began is not the same.
Right. Absolutely.
And honoring.
So I think it's really important that for relationships that you're both on a spiritual path, if that's your path, and to go on that together. And not that you have to be exactly the same level. I mean, you may be at different levels, and that's fine, but at least you're both moving forward, and you're both moving in a direction to higher vibrational energies and to raise your vibration, and however that shows up for you and however that advances you, you're compassionate to the other in that regard.
It's very helpful. And, you know, a lot of people are in relationships where there is maybe a mismatch in energy, like one's very spiritual and one's very linear, that type of thing. So you get to decide, okay, how do I want to be in relationship with both my own knowing and feelings about this, and be in relationship with this person who has a different point of view. And you get to co-create together and choose if that's something that you want to continue doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, like, Angela Jolie, one of the things that she was doing was, one of her missions was to show that she could be an actress and a famous actress and still raise a family and still be a mother and support, you know, where her mother had chosen to give up her career to raise her children, and her father had chosen to give up his family for his career. So she wanted to show that, yeah, you can, you know, you can have both. You can have both. You can do both. And it was just her belief system that, you know, embraced and said, you know, we can do it. I can have a family, and I can raise my family, and I can be a supportive mom, and I can also have a career.
That's awesome. She gave herself permission to have both. Because, right, as you said, societally, we're told you can have one or the other. But is that really true? You know, we get to also decide our own truth. Is that true for me? No. I decide to have it all. I get to decide all these different pieces of the life that I desire. And as you're refiguring or maybe reintroducing yourself to who you are and remembering who you are, you get to decide now, what in my life do I want to include? What do I want to keep? What do I want to let go, in a way that honors you as you are now and the truth of who you are, and you get to decide that.
Yeah, definitely the dolphins have assisted me with that, that whole process of where I changed my career, where I was a teacher, had the math department at an island school here. And I didn't feel fulfilled in that position. And then I went to swim with the dolphins and had a near-death experience. And then when I came out, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to change my whole life, and I'm actually going to quit my job, and I'm going to open a healing center, and I'm, you know, going to go down this spiritual path, and I'm going to do what feels good to me and follow my heart. And it really took, and sometimes it's like that. It takes a kaboom, what I call the kaboom, or a life-changing experience, where you're suddenly saying, okay, enough. I can't live this life the way I've been living. It doesn't work in this reality. It doesn't fit in with my lifestyle, and I have to change.
Yeah, and 2020 was all about those kabooms of, like, you know, the whole planet was going full tilt on this way that wasn't working in how it was working with the earth, and, you know, how the economy was working, and, you know, people are working multiple jobs and they're not seeing their kids, and, you know, the kids are in you know, these schools and all these different things, and the health system and all these huge things that needed, because they were so out of balance, they needed a really, you know, we needed to stop the train, and it was a hard stop. But when we get the hard stop, then we can actually go in a different direction. So, you know, in our own personal lives, you know, a lot of times, you know, you're not supposed to be in this relationship. You know that you hate this job. You know, all these different things. And, you know, sometimes you get forced out of that. You know, like you had the near-death experience. I, too, as well, was given 2 weeks to live. It's like, okay, well, you know, that's a good sign that I should maybe change something. You know, like,
it's really important.
It doesn't have to be extreme, but if we don't listen, it will get extreme. So it's like, why don't we listen now? Why don't we actually make those choices now? And we had, you know, a great many people this year had more time to reflect and to see what was really not working. And as we're going into this time where things can start to move and manifest real quickly, and we're setting the tone for the next, you know, several hundred years. Like, we want to actually choose consciously what we're actually desiring instead of, you know, the default.
Right, exactly. I wanted to open up if anybody had a question, or if anybody wanted to interact, or, you know, something specific. Feel free to comment in the chat or unmute yourself. And if anybody wants to, or you can visually raise your hand and I'll unmute you if you like. But yeah, feel free. We have something exciting planned, don't we?
We do.
Oh, Mariana, good. I think Mariana unmuted herself.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for your sharing. It was very encouraging. So I don't really have a particular question. I just wanted to just say thank you.
Aw,
Thank you to Jeannie too as the host.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mariana. Yeah, thanks for being there. Being here and listening in and adding your energy and everything you do. She's awesome. She's in a Reiki training class and she's doing amazing, and just so much expansion. She also hopefully will be coming out.
I hope I'm coming to Hawaii. Yes, to Kauai in March, and Southwest has canceled my flight again, so I had to call yesterday, but I still have a flight, and so I'm still trusting I will not need to be in quarantine for 2 weeks.
Yes. Well, it's down to 10 days.
Okay.
That's
better
changed.
than 14.
If we could, like, yeah, can you get it down to 3?
Right.
It would be okay. I think that would be okay. 3 and a test. Do that.
Yeah, because I've actually had a psychic tell me, and I've known that I was wanting to come for an extended period of time over there. I'm not saying move yet, but yeah, so I'm just trusting and everything that you've said. And I'm sorry I didn't catch your name because I hopped on late.
I'm Sophia.
Yeah.
Sophia, that's right. Okay, Sophia, everything you said really resonated, and you know, it's just all about trusting and just allowing it, seeing it, owning it. You know, I've already told my family I'm going, and you know, I dream of Kauai at night. I dream of the rainbows and the dolphins. So yeah, I'm just embodying it. So that was very encouraging. Thank you.
Yeah, it'll happen. It will happen.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, hopefully Sophia will be here in March, but Sophia's another one. She's like, I'm coming to Kauai, and then she's like, I think I'm moving here. Like, okay, I get it. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, just trusting all the pieces, you know, fall into place when they're supposed to, because it's like, well, where am I going to stay? And, you know, I know that I have a temporary place to stay, but, you know, it's just all those questions when you're moving, and just not letting the mind get in the way, and just trusting that it's going to fall into place. Yeah.
Yeah.
It always aligns. When I came here, the place I had rented, it fell through. So I found a place when I was sitting on the plane to come here. Someone texted me. So it all works out.
Don't worry about it.
Oh man, that's going to be a total test for me. I'm misorganized, you know, having to have everything in place before I do anything.
I love it. I love it.
Oh my gosh.
I love the way the universe works. It's like, oh yeah, you need to be shaken up right here.
Right. We need to
this area up
just
right now.
trust.
This is where you need to be shaken. Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping that Sophia will be here when you're here and you guys can meet. And
Wonderful.
yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
We're planning something fun together in January. But, you know, would you like to share about that?
Yes. So So one of the lovely manifestations that I created was this gorgeous retreat house here on Kauai, and the house's name is Esme, and she really loves retreats. So I've been doing retreats here. And then Jeannie and I were talking about how can we support the local community, because with the travel things, it's more, there are less tourists coming. So for the local community, we decided to create a rejuvenating, let's see, what's the word that wants to come? A rejuvenating time with Ohana. So to release and like kind of reflect on what we're shifting out of, as well as to charge up for what's coming next. So we put together this beautiful retreat of, you know, breath work and massage and journaling and being in community here on Kauai for several days. And yeah, it'll be really lovely for us to come together and to create together, you know, where two or more are gathered, their spirit is. So we get to use this beautiful island as the charging place and see where we have been so that we can create even better for what's coming next.
Yeah, some really powerful things. I feel like we are, this whole time has been a reboot. That's the word that's been coming to me. And the reboot is let us, like this whole retreat that we're doing is look at things differently, expand our consciousness, expand the way we see, and then like a computer, you know, when it gets stuck, you turn it off and then you turn it on again, and everything works better with the upgrade, you know. And so this is kind of like the upgrade, taking us to the next place on our spiritual path, on our energetic path, you know, receiving massage, energy work, reflexology, healing, you know, that's all part of what's needed, you know, because our bodies are going through the manifestation and the ascension process as well. So acknowledging and recognizing that we have that self-care piece that needs tending to, and allowing that to, you know, sometimes you just got to disconnect from the rat race that we find ourselves in and come into a different environment, like that beautiful place that Sophia has on the North Shore, and just to escape and reconnect with what's really important, and then journal and reflection and expansion. So very excited to be doing this. I know my phone is occupied right now, but it's January.
January 16th through 18th.
Yeah, 16th through 18th. And we have an early sign up for action takers. So yeah, it'll be $14.95 and you can join us, and I'll create a link, or you can just message either one of us, although your name is showing up as Jeannie Russell.
I'm the tan one.
Yes, I'm gonna type. Do you want to type in your info in the chat?
Oh,
And
sure.
you can add why don't you add your website there? Can you do that? And whatever you want to add. Sophia's also friends with me on Facebook, so you can connect with her there. And your website, and I think you're on Instagram too. So
I am, yes.
right. And what's your name on Instagram? Is it just you?
Right now, Sophia Marie. I'm in the middle of a rebrand, so
Yeah.
it's just my name right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll type that in as well.
Yeah, maybe in March when Mariana comes, and have some other people that are coming.
I know.
It's not showing up yet.
Oh yeah, I'm still, hold on, let's see.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. Okay, that should show up.
Okay, great.
Well, we could do another retreat in March.
That's what I was thinking. Oh, your website. Can you add your website?
Right now,
you
it's
don't
in the
have
middle of a rebrand. So
Yeah.
right now, just Facebook and Instagram at the moment.
Right. And yeah, you know, in March, we could do another one. And I think it would be awesome. They're going to do a Reiki 3 master training. That'll take up about a week. But then, you know, there's other times. And if that's something that appeals to you, Mariana, we can talk about that. Yeah. Oh, you're muted. You want to unmute yourself?
Oh, absolutely. I would just be more than open to do that. That would be awesome. Yeah. Right now I'm coming in on the 11th of March and then planning to stay for hopefully at least 4 weeks, maybe more. So see how that
Okay.
works out.
Well, that's
Perfect.
what happened to Stan. I don't know if you saw Stan on the earlier transmission, if you were here or not, but like
No, I wasn't.
Stan was just going to come for a couple of weeks. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to be here for a couple of weeks and transition. And he's been here since March.
Yeah,
And he's planning on being here till next March. So yeah, you never know what's,
you never know.
it has in stock for you. I just noticed Tammy Williams. I'm sorry, Tammy, we overlooked your comment here. I found it challenging to be in a relationship with someone who is not interested in growing spiritually. What would you want to say about that, Sophia? And Tammy, if you want to unmute yourself, feel free. Or if you're shy, you don't have to. But yeah.
So again, what I would say is it comes to those choices, you know, like your values on both honoring the spirituality and do you want to continue honoring the relationship? Sometimes it's time for the relationship to end. It doesn't have to be. It's just, how do you actually honor that? That's your main question to spirit, is if you continue in the relationship, how do I honor my energy, my knowing, my spirituality first? Because that ultimately is what creates your life. And the more you choose you, the more you choose the truth of you and to step into your divinity and your power, relationships, they seem to cycle quicker and people will go in and out in events and situations where something, you know, you may have before, you know, had something maybe go on for years and this time it takes months or a couple weeks, or you meet someone and it just, because you're so standing in your power and who you are, that will allow them to also make a choice. But again, it's your choice of like how firm you want to stand in who you are and what you want to create for your life. And then you get to be the invitation for the other person to choose. And he may say he may not want to, you know, have anything to do with spirituality, and that may or may not be true, and you'll get to see. But as long as you hold who you are, then there'll be a shift in your relationship one way or the other, and you get to decide for yourself.
Yeah, unfortunately she can't speak, so she's typing it in. So she said, I felt like I had to make a choice between my spirituality and him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found so that it's interesting, you know, because I'm married and my husband, thank goodness, is spiritual. I mean, of course, we both been at different levels and things like that. And then, you know, my family, my son went through a period where he wasn't into spirituality at all. He like, don't even talk to me. I don't want to hear it, you know, and that. So whether it's your family member or, you know, your kids or whatever. And I think what you said, Sophia, is so true, is that you have to find your truth. And it's not and getting to a place where it's not affected by outside sources, you know, like approval from either a parent or a sibling or a partner or your children. It's like you said, coming into that place where you're feeling your own truth and your own divinity of this is who I am. And it doesn't matter what you know, I mean, you want to accommodate as much as possible, or, you know, maybe you're not so spiritual in front of that, or you're not talking about spiritual things. But if it's, you know, this, your truth is your truth. I mean, that goes back to the truth question. You know, your truth is your truth. And maybe their truth is a different truth. And that's okay. We all, you know, even though it doesn't make sense, but, you know, we all have our own truths. And if you compromise to accommodate, if you're doing this compromise to accommodate your partner, and I've done that in certain instances. I've done that compromise to accommodate my partner. I felt literally like there's a part where you feel like you're selling your soul, like that there's like you're dying inside. And there's a point where it's like you make that choice. It's like either I'm going to choose this is who I am, this is my path, this is where I'm going, or you're going to say, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this relationship. I can't compromise who I am for someone else. And either you accept me for who I am. It's okay that we're different, but either you accept me for who I am or forget it, and we need to separate and go our separate ways. So it's tough. It's really, it definitely makes it harder on your path when you don't have a partner that's supportive and on the same path with you. But I feel like we choose our greatest challenge in a way. I know my kids have been my greatest challenge, but it's also been my path to enlightenment, really. I mean, you know, it's like, yeah, you're gonna be challenged, and it's like, again, you're gonna have to make a choice. You know, do I go down this path, or do I compromise myself and my ideals and what I believe in, or do I find a middle ground where I'm not feeling like I'm totally compromising, but yet I'm not shoving my beliefs in someone else's face? So, does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. And, you know, you also get to decide, you know, do you want to keep this person in your life? And you get to decide, like, okay, how can I honor both? So then you learn, you're the one that has to lead. So you're the one that has to choose, how do I integrate these two parts of myself? Because truly that's what it is. You know, your partner's just a reflection of a part of yourself. So integrate those two parts of myself. So you get to choose, and just, what do you know? That's what I would ask, is what do you know? What's your truth? And go for that and stand in that and go from there.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Hopefully, Tammy, that helped you a bit. Yeah. Well, anything else, Sophia? You want to, oh, she gave us a thumbs up. I didn't even know you could do that. That's so cool.
Oh, well, that's good.
Thanks, Tammy.
Let me see. Let me feel into that if there's something else.
Yeah, we've been rocking and rolling here. I feel like, I don't know how you guys are feeling, but I feel like there's been like this huge expansion. I almost feel like my brain's going to explode.
Yes.
Just sitting here. Yeah, no, that would be a good commercial or comic. Anyway.
Yes. What I got was when I asked is, we're at a crossroads. And again, you know, as Tammy got to model for us, we have some choices to make and some decisions to think about. So we can look at who we think we are and start to strip those things away and actually look at the truth of us with the power of us, that we are divine love, we are divine power, we are divine wealth. And we can start to reflect those and choose from there. And how do I desire my life to look now? Like if today is day one of the rest of your life, and if today is day one of the next 800 years or whatever, like we get to decide now. So today's the crossroads for you to choose what you're actually desiring, what you're in your power you can choose, not from lack or scarcity or what you think you can have or what the past has shown you, but what do I actually desire, and start moving towards that. And as we spoke about, what's in the way will naturally come up. And we're in this time where things will start to move quicker. So you'll be able to bring in this receiving even quicker. Those things that are in the way will come up quicker, which means you can release them even quicker. So just take this opportunity, this crossroads, and you get to make the choice to have the life that you actually really desire and that the universe really wants for you, instead of, you know, kind of like the mediated life that we've been taught we can have. We can actually have it all.
Absolutely. Yay. Woo. What else? What else could we have? Look at me. I'm in this amazing place right here.
I know. I'm going to come over. You're like 5
Yeah,
minutes.
you're right near
and
me.
I'm coming over.
You're like right around the corner from me. You should totally come over. And yeah, so what I'd love to end with, because we're getting towards the end, is the vision board. And maybe you have some thoughts too, Sophia, because I'm sure you've done a vision board of but my vision board, let's manifest, write down what we want to create, but not just, oh yeah, I'd like this or that. I want it to be specific and in different areas of our life. So hold on one second. I'm going to get my paper.
Me too. I'll be right back.
All right. So,
And I have some love magic spray, so I'm spraying you all.
thank you. Yeah, give me some of that. Love magic.
Love magic spray.
Oh, nice. And what, anything, essential oils in that we know?
Ylang ylang, palmarosa, lavender, and geranium.
Nice. So I'm sure you work with your clients on manifestation, and so I'd love to hear your version of what you create. But this is what I was thinking as I was tuning in for today, and it was like, I don't know if you could, not so much, maybe. So anyway, so I took a paper, divided into 4, and I think let's think about different areas of our life and write down what we want to create. I was telling Sophia a while ago that when I was, before I met my husband, I wrote down what I wanted in a partner, and I made a list of 44 things of all the things I wanted, education, looks, appearance, height, career, personality, all those things. And believe it or not, my husband had every one of those 43 of those things. I mean, everything. I even put down dentist. And the one thing he didn't have was blue eyes. I put down blue eyes. He has brown eyes. But I figured he can wear contacts, so that's okay. No, it is. So, yeah.
See, that's how you compromise.
That's how I compromise. And then I was like, I should have added more things to that list. But anyway, yeah. So we are powerful manifestors. And if we write down what, and this is the time to do it, write down, this day, everything. And I thought about 4 areas, but maybe we could go further if you wanted to. But one of the things, that I was thinking of for sure is health. Health, your body, how you see your body, how you interact with your body, and be as specific as possible. And when you're writing these things down, it's important that we put it in the now, not like you were saying earlier, like I want a healthy body. I want, that's just keeping you in the want stage. It's not helping it to manifest. So you want to say, I'm enjoying my beautiful, lovely, sexy body. I feel empowered. I feel energized. I have a lot of energy. I'm able to exercise without pain. I'm able to do all these things, just everything about I'm able to eat healthy foods. Anything else that comes to mind with the health that you can think of? Just, I think the body is so important. Like you were saying, that your body is, how did you say that? Your expansion or your reflection or your interaction with your body is like how you interact with the world, basically, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your body's the one who experiences everything. Like when you taste a meal, your body's the one eating. When you kiss that person, your body's the one kissing that person. When you're paying your rent, it's for your body. So when you actually create this, communion with your body, then you actually are partnering with your intuitives.
Right. So, yeah. So how do you want to interact or relate to your body and yourself? And then relationships. And Tammy, this is area where you might write down, I have a loving, supportive partner. And he, what you're wanting to see, even though it's a stretch, like, well, I don't have that now. And you figured it's not okay to ask. It's okay to ask. It's okay to say what you want. This is what I want. I want a loving, supportive partner. I want kids that show up and play and interact with us. And I want friends that
desire instead of want.
Right. Desire. Did I say want again?
You did. That's okay.
That's why you need friends. I want friends that correct me. There you go. Right. That's what it is, right? And whatever it is in a relationship, in friendship, and this could also be, money. It could be your relationship, but these are all relationships. If money is an area, I just put abundance and said, in the money area, I have all the money. I have the money to buy a Jaguar if that's what you're wanting. I have the money to pay off my house. I have the money to, and would you say, Sophia, you put a timeline on it, like in 3 months or?
I don't generally work with timelines because that sticks a lot of people, but it's again asking for what you're desiring and getting super clear. Like for instance, if someone says, like abundance, okay, there's abundance of lemon trees outside of my house. There's abundance of, grass. So it's like being clear. So if you're desiring something like money, okay, what exactly would you like? Would you like to create, where you have $100,000 coming in this month? Would you like to have it where your partner can retire? Would you like it where, all of your past expenses are paid and you have plenty of money in the bank? Like be specific, because it's like you're giving like an order to the universe. So like if you go to a restaurant and you're like, I would love some food. And the waiter's standing there like, what?
Yeah, so like,
like,
what?
like, I'm really hungry. I desire a lot of food. And the waiter's like, okay, like, is this person ever gonna order? So like,
Right.
Get specific and,
That's
like.
a good analogy. I love that.
We talked about like, with Tammy, ask for what you really desire with a partner. It doesn't matter if you see it right now, but ask for what you really desire. Like you said, the loving partner who's really there, one that will support you, one that was willing to grow with you. And when you ask for what you want, then you're extending the invitation, and it will either show up in that person or that person will cycle out and someone else will come in that actually is a match.
Yeah, and I think part of it too is not having attachments of how it shows up.
Yes, hugely. Yes.
Because we tend to think it's got to be this way, or he's got to shift, or he's got to change, and maybe he's not the one, and you move on, or maybe he's not going to, so it may not show up the way you think it's going to show up.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And then I put here, I was going to put career and I crossed it out and I put life mission or vision.
I like that.
Yeah, because I think it's important that we really connect with what is our life mission and vision. I know once I connected like in the ocean with the dolphins, and when I had that near-death experience, like that was like the journey started with like, okay, yeah, I need to shift to align myself with my life mission and purpose and why I'm here. Think about if you were to die tomorrow and you didn't accomplish what you felt like you were here to do, how would that feel? I mean, we all feel like there's something more, something we're here to do. And the sooner you tap into what that is, the sooner you can start making that a reality. And then it's such a more fulfilling life, I believe, and when you get more specific in that. So yeah, maybe you're just reflecting in this column, life mission or vision. Maybe you don't know what that is right now, but you get some clarity and feel free. Like this is a working document. Feel free to change this, just because you've written down and like you were saying, sometimes you write it down and you took the job and you feel you can't quit. Just because you've written it down doesn't mean you can't cross it out and change your mind. I know my husband's always like, you changed your mind. I'm like, I'm allowed to change my mind. It's like, that's not what you said an hour ago. I was like, well, I changed my mind.
That was so long ago. A lifetime.
Like catch up. Come on, get with the program. That was so yesterday. lot of things we put our partners through. Yeah, so feel free, like it's a working document, work it, change it. And if you want to add another category, is there anything you would want to add, Sophia, that?
You know, one that's always good to have is your spiritual alignment, like even beyond your purpose, like your relationship with God, spirit, universe, like, you know, how you want to be in communion with that energy and how you want to interact.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so we're shifting paradigms here. We're going to a place where instead of life happening to us, we're allowing the shift to happen, and that we can command certain things in our life, and we can ask and receive certain things to happen.
Mm-hmm. I also want to add fun and play, because that's something that it you know, I can get like so tuned into like my clients, and I'm like creating my brand, and I have my clients and all of this, and I can get like so into work, and I'm like, fun and play is something that it's creative and it's magnetic. Also, it gives you the vibration of how the universe creates life and magic. So when you're actually more into that and pleasure, then that can actually be received by you. So I think that's a good piece to have, especially for those of us who are like, you know, type A, or you know, workaholics, or just feel like, you know, you need to work a lot or be serious, or it's not spiritual, or all these different kind of things, reasons we have not to be in the play. I don't have time. Things like that.
Well, you know what I did? I made work my fun and play. I incorporated, you know, so like retreats. I mean, that's totally fun. Yeah, you know that. So it's like, how can I combine the two so that I'm playing and I'm working, or receiving abundance or compensation for playing?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I did the same. Yeah, when I started putting retreats together, I was like, well, what do I like? I was like, well, I like immersive transformation, I like luxury, and I like travel. And then I just put that together and started offering it, and it worked really well.
Yeah. It's like, what would I want to do? Oh, this sounds like fun. I want to go to that.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up for today. We've been going for a while, since 8 a.m. But it's been awesome. And I want to thank you, Sophia, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
A real pleasure to get to know here on Kauai. And yeah, I'm so excited to do retreat and all the fun stuff that we have more to come. And
Absolutely.
yeah. And all the laughs we've already had together. And just let you know, Sophia likes hot chocolate. So.
not if Jeanne makes it though.
Not the one I make, because I dilute it ways. You know, I'll like. She's like, no, I want 2 packs in my chocolate. I was doing like a half a pack, you know, one of those packs. She's like, no, okay, like, yeah, love it.
I'm the decadent one.
Yes, for sure. But that's awesome. Yeah.
Well, thank you for inviting me into this space and to be with this community, and for just our continued communion. I so enjoy it, and I look forward to what exquisite journey and play we have next.
Absolutely. Oh, and thank you for my card. You dropped off a beautiful Christmas card. Thank you for that.
Oh.
Oh, that's pretty. And thank you, Mariana and Tammy and Melissa. Who else is still with us? Avi, whoever. I don't know, there's a no name there, but thanks for joining in. We'll be on again tomorrow, and we're going to have Amira with us, and she's going to talk about Atlantis. And let me see what her topic is. This is the, let's see if I can get to that. Check this out. So, oh, wait, it's not here. It must be on my phone. Anyway, she's going to talk about Atlantis. She's going to connect. She's going to talk about the vibrational energies and what's going on with the planet. And I'm sure that'll be mind-blowing as well. And I think Stan we might grab him again and have him talk about his dolphin experience. But yeah, come on over, Sophia. We're gonna. My phone just died, but when I'm gonna plug it in, I'm gonna get something to eat, and then I'll connect with you later. But Mariana, we look forward to you coming to Kauai.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
I
Yeah.
look forward.
I see you here. It's gonna happen.
Yep. Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you. Keep visualizing it. I know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy holidays. Thank you for this.
Holidays.
Happy holidays. Aloha.
Peace, everybody.